suffocates, whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's the sinner? Who's the saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Give me a wave from backstage if you guys can hear me. My sound's working fantastic. Thank you so much. Robin, by the way, Joe from State of the Deep was texting on the channel saying he needs the link for tonight. So I did post it in the chat, but I don't know if he has it. Haven't seen him queue up backstage. So he's apparently waiting to get in. There's Joe from State of the Deep backstage now. So we've got 1-1 backstage. We've got Dago backstage. We've got Robin backstage. We've got JJ, State of the Deep, Joe, State of the Deep. Backstage. We may or may not have Jason Estes. He's been a little under the weather and busy lately to be able to come on the show, but he will be back at some point. We just don't know exactly when that's going to be. Lots of stuff to talk about tonight. I try not to make I'm trying not to make the live show be a breaking news story, but what am I supposed to do when Idaho drops a bunch of documents in the Brian Koberger case again? And then after they do it, they seem to have what seems to be an oh shit moment and pull all the documents back out. Fortunately for us, a bunch of us downloaded the documents before they pulled them back. The shit that they left unredacted is worth talking about. So we do kind of need to talk about that a little bit tonight in detail. Delphi, of course, is a newer story of mine, but we've been getting into that a lot lately, especially when Dago's here. There's no way we're not going to talk about Delphi. We know we're going to not talk about the document drop. In fact, Dago's giving me an inferiority complex because he streams for hours and hours and hours talking about these cases. And I come on here and I try to do it in 2 hours while covering 4 cases. And he's like, well, I did like 3 hours on Idaho today and another 2.5 on Delphi. So welcome to the club. Anyways, it's all good. This is why we have him on. He becomes part of the brain trust and can help bring me up to speed. And I do things a little differently. I spend a little bit more time. That's not to say I know Dago does not rush to the thing. So don't get me wrong and say that Dago rushes to opinions. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is I am slower with stuff and I digest stuff a little slower. And so it's painful. It's painful watching everyone talk about things while I'm going, well, I haven't had a chance to get page 23 of 700 pages that were dropped today. So I'll catch up to you in a few weeks. But anyways, whatever the case may be, that's my style. And so we will talk about the things that I did see. I think I have some talking points for sure. First of all, let's get the panel on stage. Let's say hi to some people. By the way, I was trying to post some stuff online. And so I just wanted to say hi to the people like Seahawks fan. I love the Seahawks fan. By the way, go Seahawks. Looking forward to a big weekend. This is all or nothing coming up. And anyways, side tangent. We won't go too far with that. Let's get 1-1 on stage. We're going to do it in the order that we're keyed up backstage. 1-1, you've got the mic. How are you doing tonight?
How are you doing, Lee?
I'm
Good
doing
evening,
well.
Den. How is it? Is it good to be alive in the den on a Tuesday night?
Yeah. For some reason, it felt like it was later in the week when I realized it was Tuesday.
I know.
Holy shit, like we're early in this week. But we've got New Year's coming up, the most exciting time of the year for me. By the way, just to let you know, I am planning, whether you want to or not, or whatever, Robin, whatever, I am going to do my normal show on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So we won't be taking off vacation like we did for some of us for the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day thing. So I will be live, and you don't have to be. If you guys have other things, big parties to go to, or you completely hammered and hungover on New Year's, I understand that, but it is what it is. Do you have anything you want to say before I bring Dago up? Just want to say hi to everybody.
Sure. I will do my opening monologue. Turn the lights down, lower your voice, and listen carefully. This is not a show for the distracted. This is not background noise. This is a confrontation. Welcome to Devil's Advocates, where certainty doesn't survive contact with scrutiny. Every case has a story you're given, and another one you've never meant to examine. This podcast exists in that second space, the uncomfortable one, the quiet one. We don't rush to judgment here. We don't chase outrage, and we don't confuse confidence with correctness. We slow things down until excuses fall apart, except for Lee. Timelines get tested. Statements get compared. Evidence gets weighed, not defended. Because truth doesn't need loyalty, it needs pressure. Somewhere along the way, questioning became a crime, doubt became betrayal, and silence became obedience. This show rejects all of that. Here, nothing is immune. Not institutions, not narratives, not conclusions already stamped and approved. If a story can't survive being challenged, it was never finished to begin with. We're not here to comfort you. We're here to unsettle you, because justice doesn't live in certainty. It lives in examination. If you need clean endings, clear villains, and moral shortcuts, turn away now. This space belongs to those willing to sit in the dark and think. We will ask what others avoid. We will question what others repeat. And we will pause where others rush past. Not to provoke, not to protect, but to expose what actually holds up. So take a breath, brace yourself, because once you hear what survives scrutiny, you'll never hear the story the same way again. This is Devil's Advocates, where certainty breaks and truth has nowhere left to hide. And with that, live from New York, it's Tuesday night.
Thank you very much. I love all your little narrative that you run together. It's good to have your presence on this show as usual, despite the few, like, I think it's the same troll that comes in and busts your nuts every single time. I think it's the same person. So
Probably.
we won't spend much time more talking about that. Thank you so much for that. Dago, let's bring Dago on. Dago is an amazing part. Again, when I bring these guests on, I'm bringing them on in the order they queued up backstage, not in any kind of order of preference. I figured that's the best way to do it rather than try to show favoritism. So the people who show up early get on screen early. And if you want to be one of those late to the party kind of people, you show up after we started the show and you'll come up last. So anyways, Dago, how you doing today?
Forget about it. Good to see you guys. Hello and wonderful. I gotta say something. Nobody can follow what 1-1 does. Come on now. Good to see you guys tonight. How are you? It's wonderful to be here again as always, and thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate you very much. I hope you're both having an amazing day. I've seen 1-1 all day, but it's still good to see you again, my friend.
Long time no see.
Yes. Great to see you, Lee, and everybody else. I'm excited for tonight, as always.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I think when I bring this next panelist up, I was going to put you right behind the parental advisory thing, so then I'll start having to shut shit off on the screen so I don't cover your face. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, you're okay. You're kind of almost, your head's not completely covered by the parental advisory.
It might be a good idea to keep it up.
Robin for sure is covered. Robin 100% was covered by the chat. How you doing, Robin?
All righty. How's everybody? Good to see you all. So
good evening.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day to be neighbors. I'm having a few little toasty drinks to get myself in the festive mood. I don't know why. I just
excellent.
think I was feeling a little bummed today, and just like all the people that were streaming all day long, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so far behind on everything. Like every day that I come on here, I'm behind everyone. It's time to start drinking.
Stop that shit.
I told you it's not worth it, bud. Don't do that. You
That's
do amazing.
right.
So anyways,
as long as you don't have somebody jumping up here singing Baby Shark, you're doing great, Lee. Come on.
Boy.
I would actually kind of welcome
Baby. No.
the best one. I saw a meme of the Baby Shark where some little toddler was like in a Hooters and some chick went by and in short shorts and reached out to her ass and it was like Baby Shark. That's fantastic.
That is good. That is good.
All right, let's bring Joe from State of the Deep up. Hey Joe, how you doing tonight?
What's up, everybody? What's up, DA? 1-1, Robin, Dago. How you guys doing? How you doing, Ben?
Sir? Good to see you.
You're living the dream.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday night, and it feels like it should be really low key, but yet, with the Idaho 4 drop and other things going on, mostly the Idaho 4 drop, like it's not low, and it drives me nuts. You know what would be nice is during the 3.5 years that or whatever that we were doing this case, wouldn't it have been nice to see this stuff gradually as it came out instead of waiting until everything's done and then go, oh, by the way, here's 5,000 pages for you to cover.
Right.
Go. It's almost like they want to bury the lead, right? They want to bury the lead and hope that people don't catch things. So,
Right.
Same thing they did with the defense. The prosecution did the defense, in my opinion. They sent it all over like 52 card pickup and said, "Here you go, good luck, have fun."
Yeah, and that's the classic move too. Send it to the defense days before you go to trial, and then say, "Hey, they have it in their possession." You fail to mention that they've had it in their possession for like 24 hours. Sometimes, literally, they may have gotten it, but they're on their way to trial. And say, "Okay, well, technically, you're right. It is in our hands, so you can pull that bullshit and say we have it, but we just got it."
Very
and I don't know how they get away with it, because I could tell you here in New York City, they're crazy over the discovery laws.
Yeah.
Like we have 15 days to hand over the stuff. Otherwise they let the client, the defendant gets, they get released. So I don't understand how. I mean, I know it's obviously different in every state, I guess, but I don't know how they get away with it. You know, the judge is, I just don't understand.
That's a good question, 1-1. Very good question.
Yeah, and by the way, I saw Amanda's question, and it's a great lead-in to kind of. I think we should start with Idaho 4.
Yeah,
we've got lots of stuff with Delphi that I'm still trying to get up to speed on, and I had a video this morning on Lisk and I think and other things, but those videos just don't do well because I'm known. I'm still like you. I'm struggling with the whole. I'm known as an Idaho 4 guy, and I'm trying to get myself known as a true crime channel and not just Idaho 4. Having said that, guess what we're going to start with? Idaho 4.
Idaho 4.
So
I told you about my comment earlier that my haters out there said you were going to cover Delphi because it needs to be seen, and I agree. And I see you're covering Idaho 4. And I said, well, I see that you don't pay attention for a damn bit of fucking lick because I covered both of them.
Yeah, covered for hours today. Jesus.
Right. You got to love it. And I hope
It's funny how mad people can make us when we're just like, it's like, it's trolls. They're trolls. We're not supposed to feed the trolls. And yet I do it too.
I do it too.
They say shitty stuff and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck off.
Thank you. Like, you know what? You're not out here doing it. What are you doing? Get off your ass and do something too. Come on now.
Yeah. So I did want to bring up, because Amanda said, what do you think about suspect number 1? And I gotta tell you, I think this is worth its weight in gold. Keep in mind, so Idaho, the website for the Idaho documents dropped quite a few documents, maybe 20 or so documents. It was out for the majority of the day. I downloaded them, started to go through them. I saw streamers were talking about it. And then I got a notice, hey, they pulled all the documents back off the website. And I'm like, oh, bullshit. I already downloaded them. Let me go double check. And yeah, they're gone. Like they literally put them out and then pulled. And now I'm beginning, because when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe they're telling this. I don't think they were intending to tell us what they told us.
They gave it all to us. They gave it all to us.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what I saw. I'm going to tell you what I saw. Now, granted, I have not died. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages, but I have some biggies that I want to share, and I'm going to get your opinion after I reveal the biggies. Okay?
Yeah.
Here's what I saw. All right, let's put this on screen. All right, Idaho State Forensic Services. It starts off with this date received of 11/16. Remember, the murders happened on 11/13, right? So 11/13. So this is 3 days afterwards. And it talks about the K-bar knife, and I started to get interested. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. And then you get to right down here on this page. Look at this.
Kabang,
11/18. Suspect Jack DeCour. I was like, suspect who? Suspect who?
And if you remember that document, that was all redacted, bro. So yeah.
I about pissed myself at that. I was like, did they just put that on a document? And keep in mind, later on December 5th, you will see 2 suspects. Suspect 1 is redacted. Suspect 2 is Brian Koberger, unredacted. They're now telling you that was a mistake because remember, they didn't know who Brian Koberger was until December 19th. So when you see Brian Koberger's name as suspect number 2 on the 5th, that's an accident. It's a clerical error. Some kind of computer mashup mistake, whatever. He really wasn't identified as suspect number 2 by December 5th. I kind of cry bullshit. I kind of think Brian Koberger was identified by the 5th, but he certainly was identified officially by the 19th. But let me show you other things that I think happened here. So Jack, on the one hand, let's take a moment. I'm going to put this off screen for a minute. I'm going to show you a couple of more surprises. On the one hand, I want to tell you this. Early on, they said this was an isolated and targeted attack. I said from the very beginning, I believe, based on what we know about Kaylee's wounds, that they think Kaylee Gonzalez was the target of the attack. They believe it was isolated and that one person in the house was the target of the attack.
Yeah.
They believed that there wasn't a concern to the public, or at least they told the public there's not a concern to the public because somebody had it out for her. And I suspected if Kaylee was the brunt of the attack, then who's the number one suspect? The ex-boyfriend who's been broken up with just recently and was losing the love of his life and all these things. And wow, holy shit, Dago, you just pulled a major magic trick. Like you literally were on screen without glasses. There was a flicker and then your glasses were on when you came back. It was like the weirdest fucking thing.
But forget about it. You didn't see it.
I told him some cool vampire tricks. Some vampire tricks.
Yeah, me and 1-1 been hanging out too much. See what's happening?
Let me show you a few more things. I want to show you a few more things. I said from the beginning, I thought Jack DeCour should have been suspect number 1, especially if Kaylee had more damage than everybody else. The obvious choice would be Jack DeCour. Now we see within days of the investigation, Jack DeCour's name shows up as the suspect in this crime. Now, on the one hand, you can argue, good. That means law enforcement did their due diligence, right? They literally, the first person you should have looked at was Jack, and Jack's on the paperwork. So good for them. I mean that in all sincerity. Good for you guys. Right. You identified Jack DeCour early on as the likely person who you have to look at first. Now, at some point, it seems they ruled Jack DeCour out. Did they rule Jack DeCour out because of good detective work or something else? That's the $1 million question. Let me show you a couple things really quick. I want to point out as well. This is an article I'm going to put on screen. Am I? Yeah. An article, this is from Fox News, early in the investigation, November 15th. Again, this is days afterwards. University of Idaho homicide victims believed stabbed to death in an isolated and targeted attack, according to police. 4 university students came targets of what police now call an isolated and targeted attack over the weekend, or apparently stabbed to death, according to authorities. And I said from the beginning, they believed one person in the house was the target of that attack. The rest of them may have been residual outcomes. And here's another article, November 16th. 4 University of Idaho students killed in targeted attack. Again, they're using the word targeted attack, which suggests one person's targeted. It could have been multiple people targeted, but the use of the word targeted means it wasn't a random act of violence. It wasn't just they targeted somebody in that house for a reason. And I always believed, law enforcement believed Kaylee was the target. So anyways, they talk about this, and then they say it is believed that the crime happened between 3 and 4 in the morning. Now, we've reviewed lots of documents. We've reviewed newly released audio footage from the house where here you can hear screaming between 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning on in that time frame. People are questioning now when the timeline of the murders happened. So now you have a couple of sources that are saying, look, isolated targeted event happening between 3 or 4 in the morning. At some point, this investigation shifted to Brian Kohberger. Here's where it partly happened. January 6th. So this is after Brian Kohberger has been identified by the FBI as saying, wink, wink, nod, nod, you really should be looking into Brian Kohberger. And now all of a sudden, they've changed the timeline. We now believe that the murders happened between 4 and 4:25 in the morning. And like I said before, I think their leads early on suggested that the murders happened earlier in the night and that Jack DeCour was the lead suspect. It is now becoming confirmed in the documents that Jack DeCour was the lead suspect, and they believe that happened earlier in the night. Something happened. Yeah. Something happened in this case, and Brian Kohberger became the focus, and they shifted the timeline to 4 in the morning because that's the time that they can try to pen Brian Kohberger as being in the area so that he can commit the crimes. Problem is, in my opinion, the audio doesn't fit it. The audio actually fits the original time frame, somewhere between 2 and 3 in the morning in that time frame. So that's some things I wanted to share, and I wanted to share with you just a couple more things, and then I'll get the panelists to discuss this. Here's the other shocker to me. Now, first of all, this is not a shocker, but all the fingernails were clipped of the individuals, and all of them had blood underneath their nails. Not of the, I don't think it was of the suspect. Keep in mind, this happened in the Delphi case as well. It is a big discussion. When people have wounds, they tend to reach for their neck or their wounds to kind of cover up their wounds or whatever, and that will get blood under your own fingernails of your own self, right? As you're trying to cover the wound, hold the whatever the case may be. I know I'm being morbid, but the point being is a lot of times the blood under your fingernails could be your own blood because you're grabbing at your wounds. But here's where the shocker comes in to me. Boy, don't you love how I'm keeping you in suspense?
Yes.
Drum roll.
Oh, by the way, here's some pictures of all the fingernail clippings from the various people with the blood underneath the fingernails that they clipped off of the various people. So there's some interesting fingernail clippings, but that's not the part that I'm getting to. The shocker, I don't know if it's a shocker, but it was confirmation of some things for me. And I'm going to tell you, ChatGPT did a weird, here we go. Here's again, 11/21. So this is before Brian Kohberger is identified, suspect Jack DeCour. And I know it's coming. It's right. Fuck me, man. Here it is. Item 37. Listen to this. Item 37. Submitted swabs from 1127 King Road, Apartment 1. That's, I believe, Jack DeCour's apartment. Yeah. So in the items, they found blood on the entryway of his house and blood in his kitchen that they swabbed. Jack DeCour is lead suspect, and they're at his house, 11227, and they're swabbing blood in the entryway of his house and in the kitchen of his house. Yep. That was kind of a shocker to me. In addition, here's another one. 2 swabs were taken from this is again from 11227. 1127 King Road, apartment 1. This is not the murder scene. This is Jack DeCour's house where his neighbor, and talks about red-brown stains on the south entry wall, one labeled whatever, and brown-red stains on the west kitchen wall. That they and it was tested presumptive for blood and came up blood. Now, the oddity of all of this, before I get your guys' opinions on all this, is the weirdness of Jack DeCour's fingerprint cards not being on file until well after, in what, January or sometime?
May of 25 is when they finally changed it.
May
This past May. Yeah.
Explain to me how suspect number 1, lead suspect, jealous ex-boyfriend, lead suspect, with in his apartment and being checked on all these things, doesn't get his fingerprints taken, or they lose his fingerprint card until May of the next year. How the fuck does that make sense? A couple more last points, and then I swear I'm going to shut up and let my panel talk.
Doesn't it all?
Jack Showalter is long in there being fingerprinted and being, he's not listed. He's never listed as a suspect, but they are doing deep fingerprint analysis, palm analysis, ridge analysis, all way more aggressive on Showalter. So here you've got some of the early people that we've speculated for a long time. Boy, if I were looking into this case, I'd be looking at Showalter. I'd be, what that whole thing, why Showalter followed the girls out of the grub truck into the grub truck. Why did he tell them they're going to get you for this, Maddie? What was fucking going on in that thing? They would be your number 1 suspects. And somewhere along the line, everything shifted to Brian Koberger, and we forgot about Jack DeCour. We forgot about Showalter. Everything became proved that Brian Koberger did it. All right. I know you probably saw more, but what do you guys think about all that stuff?
Oh boy.
Why wasn't it, this information told to the public? Like, we're investigating people close to the case. None of that was really addressed.
Right.
Anybody who's studied any kind of true crime or profiling or forensic psychology would know the first people you look at are the people, especially in a brutal crime, people close to the victims. And this is now we've all come a long way with this case, right? It's been years, but when I first started following the case, we knew nothing, right? They didn't release shit to the public. And I was saying, 4 people brutally stabbed to death. There's no way that the killer did not know somebody in that house. There's just no way. And this is not my theories. You guys all know this. This is basic forensics. And so the first thing, and then you start getting bits of information over time. And I said, same exact thing you said, DA. I'm like, she's got an ex-boyfriend.
Right.
He lives right next to her.
You could throw a rock from his place to her place.
Right.
I'm like, why are the police not even addressing it as that we're looking seriously into the ex-boyfriend, whatever. The guy who was last seen with them on camera, like shortly before they were killed, like, where did this guy go? That right there, that would be suspicious. But yet in the investigation, they never even alluded to that stuff. And I think it's because the school was saying, motherfuckers, you better not be putting the stink on our school and our campus.
And I know that my panel wants to talk about this, but I want to add something you said before we lose the train of thought. I know how people feel, and I feel the same way about Howard Bloom, right? I know how you feel about him. But let me tell you, I did a full book review of When the Night Comes Falling, chapter by chapter, and he had a chapter on the Corner Club. And I told people when I read that chapter, I'm telling you people, everything that happened that night it happened starting at this Corner Club. And one of the things that he said, Howard Bloom said, and it doesn't get talked about by fucking anybody else. So is it just Howard Bloom making shit up, or is it true? Jack DeCour was at that bar that night. Kaylee Gonzalez, as he said in the book, Kaylee and Maddie could have picked a bunch of bars to go to. There was all kinds of bars they could have picked. So Kaylee and Jack had been broke up. They could have picked a lot of places to go that wouldn't have been the bar that Jack hangs out with, the bar where his friend 10's bar, the bar where Jack would know, you would be almost certain Jack would be there that night. That's the bar that Kaylee chose to go to. Not only that, but Howard Bloom said when Kaylee was there, it was a terse environment. She made it, this was Howard Bloom's statement. She made it clear to everyone on no uncertain terms that it was over between her and Jack DeCour. She humiliated him at the bar and made everybody aware that it was over between them. There was a video caught of the two of them talking in the bar that was quote unquote seen as being terse. Then she leaves with Maddie. Jack Showalter follows. There's a comment about they're going to get you for that, Maddie. And they all end up dead within a couple of hours. You fucking tell me that's not something worth investigating, what just happened right there.
Amen. And you know, not to add, or go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on anybody.
Nah, I was just gonna say, and what wasn't released for a long time, although you know they still redacted all of the faces and whatnot, but it's been pretty much identified that if you watch the Corner Club video, because the big thing early on, obviously, was hoodie guy, right? And then we know hoodie guy wound up being Showalter. But now the video that we have from the Corner Club, Showalter's he's in the bottom right corner, and he's actually talking. He's actually hanging out with Maddie, with Kaylee and Maddie. He's actually talking to them for quite a while. So,
which is another thing, one because he said he didn't know Kaylee.
I've always argued that. Yeah,
right. He said he didn't know Kaylee, and he was there talking with her at the bar. Now, granted, he could have met her that night.
Right.
Yeah.
No way. No way. Okay. And I agree. You're right. It could have happened, Lee. You're 100% right. And he spent probably the 2 hours roughly in there with her, talking to her, and it's in a report that he was talking to her, and then comes right out and mispronounces her name, in my opinion, on purpose. Kylie or whatever the hell he called her,
to make it look like he doesn't know who she is.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do not believe that he didn't know her. There's no way. If you knew Maddie, this is her best friend. There's no way you didn't know this girl. So stop doing that now. That's all I'm saying. What I was going to say though, real quick about the Jack DeCour thing, if I can throw this in real fast, is with that being put out now, it takes me back to the very, very, very beginning.
Yeah.
When the Goncalves family defended him to no end, no matter what it is. And it makes you take a step back and look at that and go, what's going on? They defended him like it was nothing else, guys. It's crazy to me. And now
the only thing with that, I'd say, so kind of, I guess, like the devil's advocate to that. Like, well, we know that the victims weren't killed in their sleep, right? We pretty much came to the conclusion. The only thing I'd say, I know early on, because the parents did, obviously they knew Jack very well, right, from school and everything. And I don't remember her words. I'm sure we could find the interview. I know that Kaylee's mother, she said that she made Jack take his shirt off.
Yes.
And look. So that's the only thing I'd say. That's the only thing I'd say. That doesn't mean he's not involved. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I'm not saying, that doesn't prove that he's not involved. But it's still with how these victims, fought and these markings on them. I have a hard time believing that he was there in the line of fire fight. He would have some kind of marks or something.
Well, let's break that down a little bit. I want to talk about that a little bit because again, this is my memory of reading a book that's old, and it's again Howard Bloom. So if I can take it, a lot of people want to wipe their ass with Howard Bloom's book. I get it, but the point being is that let's talk about what he did say in the book. He covers that. He claims that Steve Goncalves felt that they ruled out people way too early in this case. Steve Goncalves clearly suspected Jack DeCour, ex-boyfriend of Kaylee Goncalves. And first of all, Jack didn't run immediately to the Goncalves family. He didn't see them for quite a while, which might be, according to some people, suspicious in the first place. Yes. He didn't even see them for the longest time. When the first time he saw him, according to what I remember from the book, When the Night Comes Falling, Steve Goncalves forced Jack to strip and show him his entire body to look for wounds. Now it came out later that it was Christy that asked him to show that. Whoever fucking asked him, it doesn't matter as much as the consistent story is that the family because they still didn't trust Jack DeCour, and they wanted to see it with their own eyes. And now, according to the book, after he stripped down and got a really good, thorough look over, and they felt comfortable, they kind of hugged and apologized. Having said that, I think that happened before the memorial service. And many, many people have talked about, and I don't know what your feelings are and how much we want to spend on it, of the way that Jack DeCour looks at Jack on stage when Jack's standing there hugging Christy, and a lot of people think they see a look of disgust on Jack or on Steve Gonzalez's face, that he's not still happy with Jack DeCour. But maybe it's just something people see that's not there. But it does look, if you look at it, there's just that micro expression of like, get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah.
It looks that way to a lot.
I think you're right. Yeah.
What I would do, DA, what I would say to that, because I've had this exchange with people on message boards and things and in chats. If my guess about that is, if anything, that would be, you didn't protect my daughter. She was trying to get a hold of you that night.
Yeah.
And you didn't, if you would have had been around for her, you know, like that is how I interpret that look.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't protect my daughter.
But I'd go back even further than that. You know, on the afternoon of 11/13, I know these guys were drinking and whatever they were doing at night, partying and whatnot. I still felt, from my perspective, I thought that Jack D, his reaction when he walked up the block, he didn't seem like, he didn't seem like, for someone who, you know, this is like, you know, I know they were broken up, but like the love of your life and whatnot is at this house, and you knew all these people there. He didn't seem to have like overly, you know, I know people react differently. It just didn't seem like a natural reaction to me.
I just want to say one more thing, and then I'll let you guys all comment. I just want to piggyback on what one just said. We're never going to probably ever know this information, but my theory about that is Jack, again, speculation, was on SSRIs. I believe that he went to the health center because we have heard that he was having some issues. Right. And I believe he was potentially on SSRIs. SSRIs numb you. That's one of the common effects that it has on people. Right. It numbs you. And so I think that it's, in my opinion, it's very possible he was on SSRIs and he was just numb. Yeah. And that's why his behavior was very sort of low energy, no emotion.
Super low. Right.
Even in his interview, very low energy, very straight line. He never got excited. He was kind of like, you know, and that is my theory about that.
And there was indications. It was mixed, and it was very, very little, but it came out, I think, again in that book of trash, right? It was that Jack was seeing somebody for therapy because he wasn't handling it well, which is funny because one of the things that I've always thought suspicious is just how many people keep coming out about Jack's the greatest guy you've ever met. He would never do something like this, and he was having no problem. Him and Kaylee remained best friends. He was super cool with her, dating other people. He had no problem with her. That was the consistent story everyone seemed to tell, with the exception of one person or two who said Jack was not handling it well, and he was seeing a therapist, and he needed help, and because he wasn't dealing. And I'm more inclined to say that's what Jack's state of mind was, which makes me wonder why everybody's saying it was something else. Why are they all covering for Jack? Because it seems more logical he was probably distraught about the situation and probably did need some therapy and probably was having problems. But the consistent thing almost everybody says is, no, man, they were cool. He had no problem with the fact that she had moved on and was leaving with their dog and seeing a bunch of guys, and he was cool with that. He was totally cool with it. And I just find that super fucking suspicious in the first place.
I do.
And then you get this 17-minute phone call, which is super suspicious.
I threw that backstage for you, Lee, by the way, if you wanted to run that memorial video.
Oh,
Not only does he look at him in a type of way, he walks off the stage with his arm in a protection mode around his family, excluding Jack. Okay.
Right.
My wife looked at this with me one time. Again, she's got this whole the degrees in psychology thing. She's like, that is not normal, Joe. That's not normal at all. I'm telling you.
And I try not to dwell on it too much because it's micro expressions and it happens very quick. But I was the same way when I saw it. I was like, he's got disgust on his face.
Yep.
Like he's like,
And
get the fuck off my wife. You don't, like it just has that look.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead because when I play this, I do want to in a minute take a step and go get another drink. Is it queued up for the spot we need it to be?
Yeah, it's going to play from here forward and you'll see it. I haven't slowed it down too, so you can see.
All right, I'll let you. I think you can control it, right?
Yeah. That way you can see the entirety of the entire emotion. One thing we all know about Steve Goncalves is he leads in life with his emotions. It's very evident how this man feels when you see him. So that's why it's very important. Here you go.
This community is going to help us.
A little too slow, sorry.
We all know that we can't do it alone. And I thank you guys all for here and starting that process right here in our own little community. Thank you guys.
Watch this.
Yeah. That was a,
it happens.
That was a
so
look
fast.
of disgust. It was a look of
is.
disgust. It
It
really
happens
was.
so fast, but it really is like, get the fuck off here.
Yeah.
He pulled away
That's
quick
my
too, like, why are you standing here? And moved on. And it's like, whoa, hold on now. And when they were, guys, if you remember, when they were having, I think it was the first interview they did with Olivia's Chronicles of Olivia. I'm sorry, that the girl that's married to their son now.
Right. Right.
There was a conversation being had. They were discussing Jack, and it was very evident that Olivia, at some point, I thought Olivia had something for Jack because she was all about him, blah, blah, blah. So was Christy.
Yeah.
That was the same conversation where Christy had first brought out and said, I think, that she believed it was somebody that they knew, that they were close to, that committed the crime at that point. I think it was Olivia or Christy or both said, they're going to get back together. They're going to get married. Steve looks over at them like, the fuck are you talking about? No, they're not. Same type of look. So at that point there too, again, something's not, the ends aren't meeting here with this, in my opinion. Okay. There's something.
I hate to ask the question, but because I don't like rumor.
Of course,
so I'm going to ask if you guys know it's more than a rumor. Do you remember a statement? I don't know this is true. Do you remember a statement supposedly Steve Goncalves made about something about looking forward to taking Jack on a fishing trip in a remote area kind of thing? Do you remember that?
No.
Okay.
I never heard that.
No.
All right. Well, then we'll let that go. I'm going to go top off my drink real quick. I'm going to take myself from the stage, let you guys talk. I will be listening to you right back. Hold on.
Yes, sir. Now that I never heard that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard that statement before.
Is that like a Godfather 2 moment?
I mean, it kind of reminded me of the
questions that I always asked when I was, when Jack Decor was being discussed, which would be the most logical thing. The ex-boyfriend and the guy last seen with them, if you guys probably remember, there were a lot of profilers and former FBI guys that were doing the podcasting rounds after this, before Koberger was arrested. And this, obviously the serial killer angle was talked about quite a bit early on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things almost universally that they all said was that the killer must have had either some kind of obsession with one of the people there. This is nothing we haven't heard before.
Mm-hmm.
And they echo the sentiments that I said that I learned in college, that it would likely be somebody who knew somebody, had some connection to somebody. The question that I ask is, why does it seem like Jack and the two Jacks were being protected from scrutiny. I'm not saying they weren't investigated behind the scenes. Now, my argument for that ties into all the other things we've talked about. I believe the school was behind that. I believe that the PR department of the school, which every school has, was all over MPD. Like, don't be smearing any students. Don't talk about the frats. Don't talk about the students that were linked with the girls. And that ties into all the other things that we've been sort of brushed away on, like, don't worry about that, don't look over here. And that question will always be in my head. How much sway? We know they had sway, but how much sway did the university have in this investigation? Because in my opinion, that is a really important aspect of this case.
The fact that Scott Green, from my understanding, what I followed through the whole case, Joe, the fact that Scott Green had involvement from the very beginning in every aspect of what law enforcement was updating, that says to me that there was full involvement the whole time. And I've complained about that more times than none. That's not normal. That's very odd for a teacher, a university president, to be involved in a police investigation. And every time there's an update going on within their, they have their little meetings within themselves, whatever you call that one, you know what it is more than I do. But, why that would be like me or Lee or one of you guys stepping in and being involved in their meeting. Like, you don't have that right. But he was very highly involved, I believe, from the beginning up to this point, probably still. And so I agree with you on that, Joe.
I want to bring up something about the Jack DeCour angle that I want to get your opinion on. We've talked about this before, but I want to do it again. Part of Jack DeCour's alibi that we were told, the public was told, was, well, look, we see Jack DeCour go back to his house, so we see it on camera, and he's never seen leaving his house again. Even Steve Gonzalez said, and I know it because I've been to the neighborhood, Joe and I have been to the neighborhood, Rhonda and I have been to the neighborhood. You can get from Jack DeCour's house to 1122 King Road resident off camera. Easy. Easy peasy. Okay. So, but the official alibi was, well, we saw Jack DeCour go home and he never leaves his house. On top of that, we see his cell phone activity and the cell phone never left the house. And I thought, that's the dumbest fucking alibi I've ever seen. So you couldn't have just left your phone at home to go commit the murders if you did go over, like, your alibi literally is your phone was at home. That was like the dumbest. And I thought to myself, there's got to be a better alibi. I thought there's got to be a better alibi.
Well, then he threw in the report too, Lee. If you remember, he was talking about, and I think he did it on purpose now that we go back and look at it, talking about how he went home at the time he went home and he was trying to throw up because he made it sound like he was so inebriated that
I couldn't have possibly done 4 quadruple homicides because I'm hammered.
And then he slept through the calls and he didn't remember the 17-minute face. Come on. Like, there's something there. And that's why I've always told, the community that, like, I don't trust him. There's something not right about this, but he was cleared right away.
So let me follow. Let me finish my thought. So
I'm sorry.
Please tell me. Maybe it is true, because they've hidden everything in this case. So I'm gonna play devil's advocates and give the law enforcement the benefit of the doubt here. Are you ready? I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Is it possible they did suspect Jack DeCour and they've got a full-blown, they know it wasn't him, and that's why he's been ruled out? And the only difference is that we haven't been told in the public how they know it wasn't him. If they know it wasn't him because his cell phone never left the house, then fuck you guys. You guys did not do police work. But if there's something else that they just haven't told the public today that we're going to find out later and go, oh, no wonder you ruled out Jack DeCour. He couldn't have done it because you know something you've never told. Is that possible to you guys? Is it possible that they're sitting on an airtight alibi for Jack that we just have never been told? Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it was
the
him.
alibi is, according to Hitler, it's because the killer was in a car. Jack
I know.
He could have quit.
I quit. I'm leaving. Good night. Goodbye.
He was what?
I'm sorry. You're right. Hold on, Robin. You're right. Hitler made it clear.
Yes.
Jack DeCour could not have done the murders because the murderer arrived in a car and Jack DeCour wouldn't have had to drive. So therefore, Jack DeCour. Oh my God, you fucking moron! Like, oh my God, like,
Exactly.
literally, you're right. That's true. That completely rules out Jack because we know the killer arrived in a car, and so therefore Jack couldn't.
But now, if he was on the SRIs like JJ has suggested, would he be capable of being involved in something like that?
My theory has always been it's convoluted. And again, please make sure, I want to make this caveat. This is not an allegation. This is a think tank, right? We're trying to understand what happened here. So we're not making an allegation. But
Right.
if I were a betting man, here's the thing. What we're doing here is no different than what detectives do. They do the same thing. They sit around and go, well, if I were going to do it, how would I do it? That's what they do. And nobody arrests the cops for making guesses. So we're going to make a guess. If I were a betting man, I would say that he knew somebody who would do it for him. He wanted his ex killed. And so he said, I'm gonna set up an alibi for myself. I need an alibi, so I'm gonna have an alibi for myself. But I want that bitch taken out. That's just rhetorical thinking. I mean, that would be the attitude I would have. Like, I'm gonna have somebody else take her out for me. So when you say I don't think Jack did it, I'm not saying I don't agree with you. I don't know that Jack was there. But does that mean Jack wasn't involved? I don't think you can say that those two things are exclusive. He could still be involved and not have been in the house.
Yep.
In my opinion.
There is an answer to your question, though, DA.
Yeah.
If they knew who did it, that's why they would clear Jack.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Listen, you got a good point. Framed, point this out. Remember, the intro to the book Framed said, in some cases, the actual killer worked with law enforcement to convict somebody else of the crime. The actual killer worked with law enforcement. So what if, I'm asking a question, not an allegation. Suspect 1 was Jack DeCour. Suspect 2 was Brian Kohberger. What if there is some connection we don't know yet between Jack DeCour and Brian Kohberger? And what if Jack literally threw Brian Kohberger under the bus and gave them up Brian Kohberger in exchange for getting his own ass off that piece of paper? Is there any possibility that he worked with law enforcement to get BK fingered because BK was with him or worked with him or whatever, and he knew it and he had the goods to give law enforcement to say, I'll give you the Brian Kohberger, get my name off of it. So
absolutely,
it's definitely possible. Yeah.
Or if somebody that was allegedly could have been a person that was a decorated veteran, that the lead investigator.
But my only thing is, what does that have to do with Ethan and Xana? Because I still think that Ethan and Xana were attacked first.
Yeah, but I'm saying it would make sense with so many things we've discussed, like why were the two surviving roommates not considered suspects? Why wasn't Hunter Johnson considered a suspect? If they already knew who the killer was, it could have been somebody they already had eyes on. Then that would be a motivation why they would rule out other people who would normally have been considered serious suspects. And then you wonder about, okay, how did Brian Kohberger get introduced in this situation? Now I'd go to what DA just said. What if somebody that was connected and knew who the actual killer was had knowledge about Brian Kohberger, and they were the ones that railroaded him?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because if you were, again, it's pure speculation, right? We're allowed to do that. If we talked a lot about connections between Payne and potential connections between Payne and Copaka, if you were trying to work on behalf of a higher entity to not sully the name of a legendary special forces unit, and that would be a reason to frame somebody else. And that would also explain why people that any logical person who studies crime at all would look at the people close to the victims. That would be a reason why you'd rule those people out early on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I got a theory. I want to
if
run
I
with
could
it.
point something else out too that I noticed
Of course.
before, and now that this has come forward in this sense, it made me start wondering again. Everybody noticed how Jack walked up to the scene on the body cam. We watched from the body cam. He walked up very slow and up the hill and just kind of do mopey. He walks up and then he gets attacked immediately by Dylan. They put on that great show she did, that whole theatrical thing, explaining the whole story up and down and all that. And then he goes over to the police car area and then they put him in a car. And he was very much completely distanced from that group of people the whole time. Okay?
Oh my God.
The whole time he was completely distanced from them. What if that was done on purpose? Okay. That distancing situation, staying away from that situation, not going anywhere near the roommates or the other people that were friends of Kaylee's. And again, this is a what if situation, guys, absolute theory. But what if that was done? What if he did that on purpose and stayed away from them on purpose to make it seem as though he has no interest in them? He doesn't know them. He doesn't want to know them. He doesn't care who they are at this. You know what I'm saying? And he stayed away from them the entire time. And that's just
everything about that. Diego, you and I think so much alike, and I know I'm not the only one on this panel. Other people think this way too. But everything about Jack, everything you just said, I saw. He walks up, Dylan kind of rushes to him and immediately starts going into, here's what happened, blah, blah. And quickly,
he doesn't react.
He's put in the back of a squad car and he stays there the rest of the time. Now, the girls are out there getting blankets and thermal blankets because they're freezing. He gets a nice little comfy back of a squad car thing. And everybody's like, oh, fuck off, DA. He wasn't under arrest. I know he wasn't under arrest. I'm telling you, there's something weird about why Jack goes and sits in the back of a squad car while everyone else is huddled together, sharing their story, talking about their story. But Jack's isolated from everybody else, put in the back of a squad car, and it says something. I don't know what it says, but it says something, in my opinion. Pardon my French. It says something, and that's what I'm saying. See that too.
Yes, it does. That's bothered me from day one, Lee.
Yeah. And we don't have the connection yet where Copaka is coming from, right? So he's got to be somewhere in one of these documents, because why would he's not suspect one. So suspect one we know now is Jack D. But Judge, right? He said Copaka's name in the proceeding, right? Or almost.
Right. He almost that's the thing. He almost said it. What he said was Koberger.
Right.
So he never finished Copaka, but it was clearly he was going down that path.
He had to. Right? So that name's got to come from somewhere.
We found out. I think I may not have told you guys this, but we went and did some digging, and we found SRB, a couple of my mods, myself. We found Brent Copaka's ex-girlfriend. I can't think of her name right now. Somebody in chat might throw it out. Okay, but anyway, do you know that one of her previous addresses was 1112? King Road.
1112? Yeah. No, I didn't know that.
The next door neighbor.
Yeah.
She lived in that house. Okay. So again, I don't believe in this case, especially, I have a very hard time believing in coincidences in this case. Okay. But for Brent Copaka's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend for that matter, most recent previous girlfriend, to have lived in that house at one point in time, something. I mean, we found the proof. I looked it up and found the name, the address, everything there, folks. I was like, what? It's right there.
That was 1112, right?
The neighbor, the camera house right next door to them that we see, and that blew my mind. Like, how is this even real? Okay. And that's crazy. Wow. I never looked at Copaka. No offense to anybody that did. In the beginning, yes, Zagalo. That's the last name, Lori. You're right. So I never looked at him like seriously as a possibility until not too long ago. I always looked at it, but it was there. Seeing that completely flipped me in a complete 360, and I was like, "What the actual hell?" Okay.
If Kelly Zagalo, if that's who you're saying was his ex-girlfriend, I was curious by that. There was So a lot of people keep talking about Brent Copaka having a girlfriend, but there was another, I think it was Pavarotti actually, who said, oh, well, Copaka lived with this girl, and therefore if he lived with her, he's sleeping with her, and she has a drug record, so therefore he must be into drugs. And I just didn't go down. I was like, dude, that's too many jumps. Like, just because you live with the female doesn't mean that you're dating her, and just because she does drugs doesn't mean you're doing drugs. But those were the connection. But is that the same person? Was he living with this?
I don't believe her name was Kelly. It was Zaglow for sure. I can't. One of my mods has the name, but the last name's right. Yeah. And her actual address was listed as 1112 King Road. And I said, that's not possible. And I went back in and looked and made sure. Absolutely, you guys. Whether he lived there at some point, I don't know. But if he did stay with her in that house at some point, that would give a connection to the other people. Okay. I mean,
and you know, the thing is, I guess my overarching point about, because DA and I have spoken a lot about Copaka, the whole Copaka situation, is that would explain things of why they would want to cover that up. And when you start getting to the higher levels, like government levels, military levels, they have a lot of sway in shaping narratives, as we all know.
Sure.
And so if let's just say that they went to talk to him about a potential connection to the crime and things got out of hand and then he was killed, right? Or, you know, that's something I won't go down the rabbit hole with that particular thing right now, but it would also explain why Payne was brought in, and it would, you know, to be close to it, to control the flow of information that the public gets. And that would also, as far as I'm concerned, explain to me why other people were not looked at more seriously. Now, they would still have to investigate if they didn't want it to get out that potentially a decorated veteran who suffered from traumatic brain injury, because that's a very controversial topic in and of itself, was the perpetrator. They would still have to look like they're investigating other people, I guess, is my whole point. So it would explain a lot of the things why other people close to the crime were not that seriously looked at, and why the surviving roommates' stories were not questioned that much.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. That makes makes sense.
You know, and again, there's that part of me, I mean, and you all agreed with me. There's that part of me that says, at the end of the, how do I word this? At the end of the day, are we going to find out that all along, all of law enforcement knew exactly what happened and exactly how it happened and exactly who didn't do it, and we're all the idiots for making a living off of talking about a case when we don't know what the fuck we're talking about? We need to shut the fuck up because they know who did it. The only problem I have with that is, why not just tell the public what you knew? Like, if you know definitively it was what it was, and you know there's a large part of the population who doesn't think it happened that way, why not just prove it now? Why not just prove it and say, look, everybody, shut the fuck up. Here's the proof. We did not get this wrong.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's a good point. But there's gotta be somebody or something that they have to protect. Otherwise, there would be no reason.
Right.
By the way, the name was Loretta Zaglow. That's the name.
I saw you talking about that in there. Yeah, in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Loretta.
There definitely would have to be something being protectedly, or somebody specific for a reason that they would do something like that or wouldn't just allow it. So yeah. 100%, or Carrie Zaglow. I'm sorry, Carrie Zaglow. Jesus, they got the name all over it. But anyway, the last name's Zaglow. But yeah, that's the only way that would make sense, Lee, that they wouldn't allow it at this point because there's something of importance or somebody that it could destroy or something within that realm. That would be the only thing that makes sense to me, truly.
And guys, this is not a political thing, what I'm going to say at all. It has nothing, in my opinion.
You just fucking made it political.
Right? No, it's not. The topic has political implications, but I'm not looking at it politically. You guys ever see the documentary about the Navy SEAL who was on trial? It was called The Line. I believe it was HBO. It could have been one of the other streaming platforms. And ultimately, Trump pardoned him.
Yes.
Right. Now, if you watch that documentary, there was a lot of damning evidence against that guy having committed war crimes.
Yes.
Right. But the Navy SEALs is arguably one of the most iconic special forces units in the world. Right. And so the president steps in and pardons the guy. Now, you take Brent Copaka's situation. He was 82nd Airborne. It would be a major stain on the military if it got out, and the 82nd Airborne, that he was involved. And so that's when you start getting into bigger dogs coming into the picture that have complete dominion over a college, a local police force. And I'm sure I don't need to explain that to people in the chat and anybody here. That is reality. Powerful people get involved, and they can just the snap of a finger, they could change the whole direction of something. And I've felt pretty strongly about this for quite a while as it relates to Brent Copaka.
And it kind of goes along with what I'm saying is at some point the narrative shifted and BK became, and everything shifted. The timeline shifted, everything shifted for some reason. And so the $1 million question is what happened that shifted the narrative.
That's what
they had to shift the timeline to match.
They shifted everything. They had to do it.
Yeah.
It was going to cause problems, and that's in turn where all.
Even though they've made mistakes with the suspect vehicle 1, and they played games with that, they still saying, BK left in his car and he was here and he's there. They can't go by and say that, oh yeah, we think the murders happened closer to 2:00. If they know definitively BK is he didn't even leave his apartment, that would be a big contradiction. So
that could also explain why they put a person in position to be the lead detective that absolutely should not have ever been. Knowing Payne's background, okay, that could be why he was made lead detective. As when in all reality, to me, it looked like Blaker was the lead detective, as we all know how that went down. But this is just again another what if. That could be why they brought him in that aspect, if that was true. So.
Yeah, like more of a fixer, like he was brought in as a fixer.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
Like because we all talked about this too. He really wasn't the lead detective.
Not at all.
But,
no, we didn't know what was going on.
He had no idea what he was doing, right?
But as a fixer. And,
very good point, Joe. Very good point.
And so and again, I don't want to beat a dead horse. It's just if you understand the way the power structure works, and there's countless examples of it, it would make perfect sense to me. It would make sense why you would steer away from that at all cost. Mm-hmm. It would explain why no digging or more talking about Brent Copaka being killed in a standoff. They swept that under the rug so fast and make your head spin.
Right.
Because the feds, man, the military and the feds and politicians.
And they kept that case open for a long time for no reason. It was very cut and dry if that's the way it went down. Because as long as it's open, you can't FOIA any information on it, okay? And long time, way longer than I would ever imagined until that case ended up closed. So,
right.
That I think in a situation like that, in the what if situation, you have to make sure every end is tied up and sealed before you release that to the public to be able to look into. So,
and look, is it possible that Kohberger, DA and I saw how close together, man, there was apartment complexes were.
Too close.
If we could get confirmation that Copaka lived at Pimlico, you could litterally throw a tennis ball from one apartment complex to the other. That's how close they are. And if Kohberger knew him, is it possible that Kohberger knew some shit that they didn't want to get out, and a way to silence him was to railroad him?
Sure. Yeah. I still wonder if that is the eyewitness account, possibly slightly mistaken, when they said they saw Koberger sitting talking to who they classified to be a biker on the steps that night, kind of having a bit of a heated discussion. Is it possible that that may have been Brent? Okay.
Well, he was out. He was walking around. We know pretty, I'd say 99%. I don't want to say 100%, but we showed the car accident. We showed it on this podcast. It definitely looks like Frank Copaka walked right by.
I want to say something about Copaka for a minute, which is that on the one hand, I feel super bad for his family, right?
Of course.
It has to hear his name brought up in association with this crime all the time. I do feel bad for it. And I honestly mean this. Sometimes they joke that police don't really mean it when they say, hey, look, we just want to clear a name. In this guy's case, I really just want to clear his name. If he's not involved in it, I want to put it to bed and say, look, I'll never mention it again. I looked into it. I can definitively say now there's no way in hell he had something to do with it. I'd like to find out if that's the case so that I can put that to bed, because I don't feel good keep bringing up a soldier's name who has a Purple Heart, who served his country. If he was really a nice guy, had nothing to do with it, I want nothing more than to clear this guy's name. And that's an honest truth. Having said that, that guy's name is in the wind for a reason. He was a suspect for many people in a reason. Even his own best friend said, I think law enforcement thought he might have been involved in the Idaho 4 murders. That was from his own best friend. So for us not to ask the question and keep on it a little bit, especially when there's reasons to believe he and Koberger knew each other, we have to ask. So I guess at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, look, for those people who are, last thing I want to say about that, I never have a last thing to say. Somebody pointed out somewhere in some AI, when you ask about Brent Copaka related to Idaho 4, it says Devil's Advocates came up with that theory. I did not come up with the fucking theory, but I guess I'm proud that somebody's put my name on it. But no, it's not my theory. It's just one that I say I can't rule that shit out. And I've long, Joe, the same thing. Joe and I talk about that. Like, we've always suspected there's more to the Copaka story than people want to. And in fact, the fact that they try to shut down Copaka as a discussion point so hard is the reason why I'm like, wait a minute, why are you so fucking freaked out about us mentioning Copaka? Like, what are you trying to hide?
I know we're heavy into the discussion, but just a side note, thank you for the gifted memberships. Sick R3029. I know we showed it on screen. And Michelle F. Elf. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
We appreciate the support and the memberships. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah, and somebody said in here, I feel bad for Copaka. Honest to God, I kind of feel bad too. And you'd think, well, if you feel bad, then stop talking about him. Again, you have to understand, we're investigators, and that's a loose thread that hasn't been tied up for us. And it's like, so I feel bad for every person in this case. If they didn't have anything to do with it and their name keeps getting tossed around, I feel bad for them. Having said that, that's the way investigations work. You have to pocket your personal feelings and go, we're gonna keep, like, here's the thing. There are a lot of killers in this country that when you look at him, you're thinking, there's no way that guy's a killer. You just wouldn't believe it looking at him. Ted Bundy, if you didn't have the retrospect, Ted Bundy didn't look like a serial killer. The guy looked like a really nice guy. A lot of people look like a really freaking BTK was a father and a church guy and looked like an everyday average normal guy. Like, I mean, it just, these people, it's easy to think, oh, he doesn't look like a bad person, so he must not be. Killers can look like anybody, and that's the reason why we have to ask the questions.
I can't help not to laugh though. Lee, wasn't it your dog took a dump on Copaka's not his house, but his mother's house, right in front of the mother.
Yeah. God, I felt so much guilt for that. Yeah, I did. We cleaned it up though. We did not leave the shit in the yard, but yeah, that was not my finest moment. I have a lot of moments like that, like pulling into the Moscow Police Department's parking lot in the middle of the night to change a battery or something.
Hysterical.
You still haven't showed that.
I know.
Yeah, you really need to.
I need to, you know what? I'm going to need to just, after tonight, I'm going to need to go find the footage and to see if I can pull it up.
And we also drove past that.
Yeah.
You should. We drove past the building where the surveillance video was of Jack S. and Kaylee and Maddie walking past that
Yes.
security footage
Yeah.
a bunch of times because it's a small town, and it's weird. It's definitely weird when you see that in person.
Oops. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Simply Solo, I have watched the body cam footage of Copaka at the hotel in depth. So, and I'm sure Dago has as well, and probably everybody on the panel probably has seen that video. So, we are aware of the video. The statements that he made, that he was afraid somebody was trying to kill him, trying to lure him out. He looked a little paranoid. And in fact, that video is the part that video in part is what caused a lot of our questions about Copaka. Because on that video, they ask him where he lives, and he says the Pimlico apartments. Yet he was shot and killed at the Coffee House apartments on the opposite side of town. So where did he really live? Because he told them he lived at the Pimlico apartments, which is right across, as Joe described it, not necessarily from his place to where Kohberger was at, but apartment complex. You could hit it with a tennis ball.
Yep.
You could throw it from one apartment complex to the other and hit it with a tennis ball. Not necessarily Brian Kohberger's unit per se, but that's how close those apartment complexes are to each other. So it leads to the question, especially when you look at the body cam footage of the night of his shooting, which, by the way, I have a public records request in. I'm going to get supposedly full footage of that night from the SWAT team and all the stuff related to Brent Copaka's shooting. I've had it in the works. They're putting it together, the package for me. They said that they're working on the package and they'll have it to me by March. So that sucks, but they're going to have a full package of Brent Copaka. But if you look at the footage, there's no furniture in the apartment where he's shot.
There's nothing in there.
Was Brent Copaka living at Pimlico Apartments and he was shot and killed at Coffee House and nobody was living there? It makes you wonder. But
even better, Lee, the roommates, Jordan Baker and all that whole situation, we looked into them too 3 years ago. Things don't line up with them either. They don't line up with them living there. They don't line up with other things with them. None of that situation works out to be what it's supposed to be. So when that happens, you got to kind of step back and go, okay, I need these questions answered before I'm going to believe what you're saying. So,
right.
There's a lot of people who say when you see I don't remember if I've seen it. I've seen little pieces, but I've seen one of the roommates talking to a cop on a body cam footage. But there's a lot of people who say, if you watch the interviews with the roommates, it'll put the Brent Copaka thing to bed and you'll know he didn't do it. But do you know what they're talking about? Have you seen anything that when you see the interviews with the roommates, it puts it to bed that Brent Copaka had nothing to do with anything?
No, it doesn't.
I didn't see that. But what I saw, what I saw was the interview with that girl, the neighbor who lived. And what's interesting about that, I believe Lana covered it, but I watched the whole interview, and that has to do exactly what I was gonna just mention. Some of what you covered earlier, Dago, and some of the documents.
Right.
You guys have to be real. I'd say we do it here, but you guys have to be real careful. I know we like looking at the official documents and the official stuff that comes from Idaho or MPD or whoever. However, with that said, if you watch that interview with that female, what she says in the interview does not match the report that the officer makes. Not even ridiculous. Close. And just like as a side note, what we covered earlier on Dago's show, and he was going over some of the documents that were recently released, if they put it back up, was some of the interviews, the actual report of the interview with Dylan and some other people. And again, it doesn't. There's stuff that's not included. Stuff is changed. Stuff is left out. So what I would say is, it's kind of a tedious task, but you really, it's like you have to watch the interview and then read the report like at the same time. Because if you just look at the report, there's a bunch of stuff. So like today, what was it? I forget the girl's name. It was one of the friends that said that she had gotten called, and what Dylan had said, she saw his chin, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah.
She saw his chin or whatever. Like when did we ever hear that?
Right.
I don't remember hearing that.
No.
Yeah, it changed. By the way, two of the documents are back. The rest are still gone. So
If she
I bet
saw
they're
his
redacting
chin,
them.
was he wearing balaclava or not?
Yeah. She said she saw something with his chin and what else. Right. And that's, I don't remember her saying that in the interview. I don't remember her ever saying anything about his chin.
No.
you didn't.
Well,
that's what I mean.
Think about this. If the girls weren't there at the house, which has been a lot of speculation that they were not,
right?
The two surviving roommates, and the higher ups were trying to cover up a certain person's involvement, they would just feed the narrative to the people involved. And that would explain all the weirdness about the testimony and their sort of accounts of things. And it would also explain a lot of things, to be honest. If they were spoon-fed what happened and this is what, whatever, however they did it, like the whole thing with the balaclava and the bushy eyebrows and all that was spoon-fed to them.
Yeah, definitely. But it's not even matching the interview. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I believe that a lot of like you watch the interview with I think it's Hunter Johnson, and I think at one point in the interview he's even like laughing or something at one point, and there's a break. I mean, it looks like he was fed all the questions before they even turned the camera on. But then you read the document of the interview, and it doesn't, like half of it doesn't even match what was said in the interview. So.
Right, and it's. I just lost it. Sorry, go ahead.
I just lost it.
What's up, Birdie?
Hey, Birdie.
Hey, Birdie, you should jump on camera. I don't know what the white elephant gift is you've got, but if you want to come up on screen, let me get that thing. You should come up. You should come up and say hi. We would love that as very, very much. So welcome, Birdie. Thanks for coming in. And those who are fans of the Hive, Birdie and I often go together on Mondays. We used to go every single Monday, but we kind of switched it to every other Monday so that we don't force a topic to talk about. Unlike this show where we talk about shit every fucking night, like every night. Boy, I'm dropping a lot of F-bombs tonight. You guys need to censor me. I need a swear jar. If I had a swear jar, I'd probably be making a lot of money tonight. I drop a lot of F-bombs.
He says he'll be here in a couple minutes.
Guys, wouldn't it all make sense though? Especially DA, some of the things that we talked about when you were digging into Copaka, it would really explain why we've been fed so much horse shit about this case from official sources, right? Because who would have the ability to totally shape a narrative, to totally get the mainstream media to push a narrative?
Yeah.
I mean, the military.
And listen, that's another thing too, you guys. It was talked about, I can't remember where I heard this, that a lot of the video and audio manipulation that's been done, somebody said that to them, it reminds them of things that the military can do.
DARPA, baby.
You know what bothers me?
Yeah.
What scares me? What scares the piss out of me about that narrative is we will never know. We will never know the truth. They'll be allowed to lie all day long, every day. And how often does that happen in this country? That we just have to eat shit. Like we're never going to get told the truth. They'll be able to lie all day long, and there's nothing we can do about it.
The answers will be on display at Area 51, Lee. That's it.
Right. But it makes us in the true crime community look like we're idiots. Like we're because they'll just be able to lie all day long. There'll be no accountability, and then we'll just be told we're a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists who have nothing but time on our hands and are trying to make money off of people's tragedy while they're just flat out lying to you, bold-faced to your face.
JFK all the way.
You just gotta. That's why I always say you gotta pick the
thick
threads that you think are the most important to pull. Yeah. And then hope that eventually you can get somebody that comes forward, or that you can solicit information from somebody that was close to the case. And it might be down the road. I mean, how many times have things happen in history where you find out way past the expiration date of a
Right.
case, you find out critical information, and the public has already pushed that away. And in fact, that's when it typically comes out.
Right.
Or when
And
people related to the case are out to pasture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I've said it before, I mean, I think it's over 50%. I think the last poll that I saw, over 50% of Americans don't believe Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone gunman in the JFK assassination, and yet the government sticks by their story to this day that it was one guy. Yet the majority of Americans don't believe it. So at the one hand, you just have to kind of say, look, yes, we may never be able to prove this, but that doesn't stop documentaries and books and whatever from being written. And for people who are critical thinkers to say, I don't care what you tell me, I don't believe that's how it happened. So it's still something we can talk about. It's just that there's a certain part of the population who's going to be like, you guys are idiots because the officials have not told us it's that way. And until the officials, because that's the thing about you brain dead morons, not you, again, because if you're watching this show, you don't think this way, but the other people who turn this show off, you brain dead MFers who think that if they don't tell us, then it's not the truth. Wait until they tell you what it is. And then that's the truth. Like, you freaking morons. Like, you literally live in a box where you have to be told it's, oh God. Anyways, I'm on a rant. There was a movie.
Such a boring ass life to be able to think that way.
Yeah, there's a movie. I can't remember what it was. It was a movie with this. I remember this heavy set dude that was a politician, creepy. He was an actor who played a creepy politician. And he's like, the truth? The truth is what we tell you it is. And I'm like, that's so fucking true of these people. They literally think the truth is whatever we tell you it is. And you're going to accept it because you'll be told what the truth is, and you just got to lay down and accept it because you're a bunch of sheeple that don't want to do anything except for accept what we tell you the truth is.
I think the awakenings are spreading, though. I think there is seemingly a bigger chunk of the population now than I've ever noticed before that seems to be awakening that we're living in a theater psyop.
Yeah.
And what the government tells us, the horse shit that they feed us is just that. And I think this is the one thing, if I could say one thing that gives me hope about society, is that it seems to me like a lot of people are kind of waking up.
I would agree with you. Yeah. They're starting to see the matrix of what it is.
There you go.
Just real quick, somebody asked if I'd ever written to Brian, or if anybody's ever written to Brian. Those who watch my show for a long time know I had a letter campaign every single week. I had a series called Letters to Inmates, and I would write to all the inmates in all the cases that I follow, trying to get an open dialogue. Unfortunately, after a year of writing letters to all the inmates and all the cases that I followed, and getting not one single response, I decided, apparently I'm a shitty letter writer, so I stopped that campaign. I've written lots of letters to Brian and other people in these cases.
So there you go. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Did you order the code red?
Damn right I ordered the code red.
Damn right I ordered the code red.
You want the truth?
You can't handle the truth. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I know we're getting Birdie up here. It's funny because with Birdie coming up, I almost don't want. It's like we're at that point where he probably should shift to Delphi or something like that, talk about another case. But yet with Birdie coming up, I know he's probably going to want to talk about Idaho 4. So we got to give him some time to do that. Or we can just start talking about Delphi a little bit and shift right back to Koberger when Birdie shows up. I don't know that I really have anything new on the Delphi case other than I did watch that, the 2-part documentary Down the Hill, which really didn't offer a whole lot. It really didn't offer a whole lot. But I know, Dago, when you showed Ron Logan, was that the name? When you showed that thing, I was like, boy, that voice does sound super familiar. It does sound,
a lot of facts. I'll be honest with you. I showed today the data image analysis that they did about Ron Logan. That's what kind of flipped me to him being bridge guy to the point where it's going to be really hard for you to make me think anything different now. And that's why I showed that today, because it was so on point. 1-1 was in there. I think Robin was in there for a little while too. And it was it's very mind altering. I'll put it that way, to watch that and see what they did and how it proves, in my opinion, to no avail that is who that is. Now, again, guys, when I say that, that doesn't mean that I think Ron Logan is the person that committed the crime. What it means is I believe that Ron Logan was the bridge guy. In my mind, it means that he could have had something to do with the situation. That's all it means to me. And it's definitely not. It's not Richard Allen. It's bridge guy. There's just no way in my mind.
I had a question. I had a question, quick about. I know you said that. I'm sure you looked into it, but going on the stones and the way the sticks were and whatever, that whole Odin thing.
Yeah.
What actually, like the position of how the girls were and the sticks and whatever. Because I don't know. That's why I'm asking. What is that supposed to actually represent? Does it have a certain like symbol or something? Yeah, what is the actual meaning of that?
The problem here with this, okay, is as I stated when I talked about it. What's up, Bertie? Good to see you, brother.
Good evening.
They took, if it's all true, okay, they took the Odinism religion and they twisted it, turned it, flipped it inside out, balled it up, threw it across the room, and opened it back up, and they turned it into something completely different. Okay, they used that as a base to bring out the heathenism and all the other stuff they did. So the actual meaning behind that is completely different than what they were doing.
I want to comment on that, and I know Bertie's probably here to talk about Idaho 4, but let me just really quickly add that one of the things that they said that did ring home to me was it could be somebody who was new to the Odinism thing, and kind of like, for example, the High Holy Day, if you will, was actually probably a day or two before, because that's when the full moon started. Yeah. So they try to point out that it happened on a pagan holiday because of the new moon, or not the new moon, but the full moon. But it actually was a day off or so. But again, if you had a new person, like a young person who's new to the religion, and they're like, hey, this is the holiday season. It's the full moon still. It's because they look up and they see, because it would be a full moon for 3 days. And I know some basics about the thing. Somebody new to the religion might do something and get details off a little bit or whatever that aren't exactly old school because they're new to the religion. So that's another.
Now that you said that, Lee, there was, and I showed that today. Elvis Fields was one of my alternate suspects out of I think there's 5. He said to his sister, okay, multiple things, but one of the things he said was, I did this thing and I am now in a gang, and I have a brother now. He was new being brought into the situation.
To the religion, yeah.
And in turn, that fixed what you're saying. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Somebody who's not quite versed. So Bertie, real quick, before I know that at the moment you came in, we're talking all Delphi. You're probably here to talk a little bit of Idaho 4, although maybe you're all up. But whatever you got on your mind, dude, it's good to see you. I'm glad you joined us. What do you got on your mind?
Well, it's great to see you guys too. I'm not super up to speed on Delphi as far as like current events every day, but that's a case that I've kind of been just paying attention to in the background. I haven't really been talking about it. I think that that's a case that's going to explode, and I think that it's just as popular in different circles as the Idaho 4, as Luigi, maybe as Karen Reed was. I think that from a wrongful conviction standpoint, I mean, if you guys have X accounts, that's probably the most argued about case on X right now is Delphi. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What are your guys?
They just filed an appeal because Richard Allen was convicted of 130 years to prison for the murder of the two. And when the appeal came out on December 17th, and I don't know if you read that appeal, but holy shit, like that appeal, it is clear in the appeal. They broke that man in prison while he was awaiting trial. They broke him mentally. He got to the point where he was eating his own shit and he was fucking seeing things and he was saying he's God, and he didn't know if he talked to his wife or he didn't talk to his wife. He didn't know if his attorneys were his attorneys. And at some point during all of that he lost his mind in prison, being broken, said, I killed those girls. I guess I killed those girls. And that's what the jury heard, is the confession part. I killed those girls. Bam, 130 years. And now they're coming through the appeal saying this guy was fucked. Like they completely destroyed this guy and ramrodded him into a confession, and they convicted him on it. And it's bullshit.
Well, I pointed out today, was it today or yesterday? 1-1. I pointed out in the confession calls, Lee, he says it clear as day. He says, I did this. I have to say I did, because his wife Kathy kept saying, don't say that.
I have to say that.
Don't say that. I have to say I did that. I have to say this. There's somebody standing here right next to me right now. That right there in itself should
Crazy.
be
Unreal.
It's insane.
Yeah,
Unreal.
throw it out right there.
Dago, when I popped on, I heard you talking about like the bridge video.
Yeah.
And one of the things that has always stood out to me, I'm sure people who followed this case have said this, the voice doesn't sound luring. It sounds directive to me.
Yeah.
Guys, down the hill.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound necessarily very sexually luring. It seems directive, like it fits this urgent authority, like somebody who's under pressure. I don't know. It
do what I'm saying. Yeah, directive. I agree. And also, I'm glad you said that, Bertie, because as I pointed out today, when you watch the full video that they wouldn't give us until after he was convicted and sent to prison, they only gave us that beginning clip. They didn't give us the whole thing until after the fact, conveniently. You hear her talking about there's no path here. We have this path to get down here. And then you hear, guys, she says, hi. He says, down the hill. It's almost like you said, it's either do this, like directing it, or he's telling them how to get down and around or something like that. Right. And that's why I've always said, we don't know that Bridge Guy is absolutely involved in this, okay? Because there's never, ever, ever been any substantial proof that he has anything to do with this other than the end that they gave us from day one and said he's the killer. That's it.
And again, the footage that they showed on the aerial footage they showed of the bridge, the Monon High Bridge, it does get very heavy brush once you get to the other side of the bridge. So when you get there, there's a footpath that's to your immediate left. And there's a main path that goes straight, but that main path is overgrown. And that's exactly what the girl says. We can't go forward. It's too, and so we have to go to the left where the footpath is. And then the guy says, girls, down the hill, because that's the only choice you have. It's overgrown going straight forward. So, and like I said, once that guy, in my opinion, once the girls got on the bridge, they were screwed because it's a trap. Like they literally, you can't go forward. The only way to go is to the end of the bridge and left. That's it. It's a trap.
I also wonder if there's somebody else that's not on camera that's standing down there too, that they were kind of
that's the question,
sandwiched into that possibly too. Yeah. So,
and putting it all on the bridge guy is just damage control at that.
Oh
point.
yeah, big time.
I just can't help but to wonder what else is on that video. Did they continue recording, and are they not showing it for a reason?
Yeah, and to be fair, they ask on the video. You saw it, Joe. You watched the down the hill thing. They asked that sheriff or whatever it was, is there more of this video that we haven't seen? And he's kind of like, I can't really talk about that, but there's a little bit more. But he kind of almost hinted like there wasn't that much more. It's like you saw the gist of it. He kind of hinted that there wasn't that much more to the video. Right. But who knows? They could be lying their ass off, and there could be like really huge things that are still on that video. So
yeah, this is where typically I know that I don't know the ins and outs of the rather recent like appeals and stuff you guys were talking about. I've always had a little bit different take on it. Not that that's the reason why I haven't talked about it. I have no problem giving a contrarian take or conspiracy take, whatever it is. It feels like Hollywood has sometimes wrecked our judgment for the whole wrong place, wrong time. And I'm not saying that that's as simple as it is. It's rather just the location seems too public for a planned attack, right? It just seems it's broad daylight. It's a public bridge. You got kids with their phones. That's where I go back to. It doesn't seem like luring. It just seems directive. It seems under pressure. It seems like there's absolutely somebody off the camera somewhere. I would love to see the rest of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you start to think through it like that, I think the possibilities, like, did the girls just stumble into something already happening, and then now what is it that they're covering up where they can't necessarily let that out? It's small town corruption, local crime enterprise, in my opinion. But
that's
so real quick. We do have a guest that popped in backstage. I call BS. Bertie, I want to give you a shot. So guest, hang on a second. I know that you dropped out once already and came back, so hopefully it's just a technical difficulty. You're going to hang out for a second. Bertie, tell us what you came in for. I mean, you're welcome to stay and talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about, to be honest with you. But did you have something that you wanted to share or is particular? Or?
Well, I had mixed up the days that we were going to go live together. And so I had actually told my stream, I said, nobody spoil this for DA, but my white elephant gift. The universe, the stars aligned, DA. And by random, I picked a number out of a hat at my wife's grandparents' house for her Christmas. It was number 7. And we passed them all around. We shuffled up the gifts, and you'll never guess what I got.
You're right. I won't guess.
You know what that is?
It's a gel
That's a tig old bitty implant.
That is a breast implant. Yes.
It's my new stress ball. Brother.
Well, I get it. I mean, it is a stress reliever to do this. I'm telling you.
I was hoping I would get 2. I could mail you one as a belated
You
Christmas
definitely need a
gift.
pair. I mean, come on.
I love it.
Oh God. Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks for. Oh gosh.
No,
Thanks
and
for bringing that
I
up.
also want to say thank you for the Christmas card and for the cookies. They were delicious.
Yeah. Yeah,
I really enjoyed those.
I apologize for how shitty they look. They look like a toddler put them together, and apparently the brownie is stuck with the paper. Oh shit! I called BS is on here twice backstage. I don't know which one to bring up. I was going to bring her up in a second, but thank you for sharing that story with the Tiggle bitties. That's hilarious shit. Like that never gets old. But you definitely need a pair.
That is great.
All right,
Classic.
I'm going to try to bring our guest up on stage with us. Let's see which one of the two. I'm going to go with the latest one that got popped up. She's on here twice. That's what happens. Hey, what's up? I call BS. What's going on?
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yeah, we
hear
can.
you.
Okay.
It's working.
What's on your mind tonight?
Great.
You got a question
I don't
or a
know
comment?
what happened earlier. I'm sorry about that. I didn't
That's
mean to
okay. It happens.
waste your time.
I'll kick your alternate away from the studio. Hope it doesn't kick you. Okay, you're still good. All right.
I feel
go ahead.
like I have an echo.
Well, you might have your speakers up too high, so you might have to mute your speakers or turn your speakers down. But
Do you got YouTube open with this?
I
That
don't think
happens
so.
sometimes.
Yeah, you might.
I have 2 StreamYards open though, and I'm not sure
That's
which.
why you have the echo. You got to close the other StreamYard.
Okay, I close that.
yeah, I kicked one of your StreamYards out of the studio, so you should just be you.
Okay.
DA, people are asking, yes, I only got one, and I have no idea where this came from.
Can I ask another question real quick, Bertie?
How the hell did I not get that for Christmas, sir?
Do you sleep with it?
Well, my mods told me that I need to get this off camera because I started like doing this the other day without even realizing it.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
All right, what do we got? I call BS. You got did you get your echo to go away?
Yeah.
What do you got for us? I'm gonna make you big, huge on screen. How about that?
I got a lot, I guess. I'm just trying to collect my thoughts and process them right now because there's a lot that I've been thinking about. I have notes.
Okay.
So my main thought is, what if I like to ask questions because I don't like to make statements that I am not sure of. So I'll just do what I do. What if all of those cars circling around 11:22 were undercovers? What if the killers that murdered those victims were actually in that house to begin with? What if they walked away on foot?
That's what I think.
All right.
That's what I think happened.
Is that
Yeah.
right? Go ahead, Dago. Go ahead and lay that out for us.
Yeah, I absolutely have always believed BS. I've always believed that the car is a red herring. I never believed in the car. I believed that they could have been either walked there or they were dropped off there and that they walked
Do
away.
you really think anybody's going to take the risk with a car in
No,
that small
I
of a
don't.
town?
I
Do
don't
you
at
really
all.
think that? That's
No.
a small town. I live in a pretty big city. Not too big, but big enough.
Yeah.
And even I would not take that risk to
Well,
be caught. getting a
stop for a second.
DWI or
Right.
pulled over or right?
Right.
Right.
So along that lines, harsh reality, right, had his like 11-year-old son say, if you were going to commit this crime, and even the son's like, no, you wouldn't take your own cell phone, and no, you wouldn't drive your own car. Like even a child can figure out you wouldn't take your car to the crime scene, your own car to the crime scene in front of a bunch of cameras, and take your own cell phone. Like it doesn't take a genius, especially, and again, this is the narrative I've always had a problem with. You want to tell us on the one hand, Brian Koberger was such a genius. He was a forensic specialist. He was going into school for PhD. That's why he left so little DNA behind, because he was a mastermind, but not fucking smart enough to leave his car behind or not take his own car to the crime scene or take his phone to the crime scene. I know Birdie's jumping in. What's up, Birdie?
Well, I was just going to say, I want to add on to that before you continue, is not just to the crime scene, guys. While that is the most wanted car in the country, the most shown car in the world, he said, you know what?
Two of them lined up at the freaking next to the house at 1112.
Yeah.
Two white sedans.
Right. And then for him to drive it across the country with his father while it's
No,
on
do you
every
think
news
that's a
channel.
coincidence?
Well, no,
I
look, Joe and I, Joe from Stay in the Deep and I drove that neighborhood at night, and my wife and I drove it again during the day. There are white cars everywhere in the neighborhood. There are white cars that are very similar to a Hyundai Elantra, a white Subaru, there's a million.
I know every
a million
single
cars.
vehicle. I've watched every single video. I've watched every single CCTV footage. I know every vehicle that was in that proximity, that perimeter, in that time frame. Do you understand me?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot of us that have been, there's a lot of us that argue about whether or not, I mean, look, that was the whole point of the defense, is that it's up for the jury to decide if suspect vehicle 1 is the same suspect vehicle every single time. You're prejudicing the jury by telling them, here you see suspect vehicle 1 entering the scene, and here you see it entering again, and here you see, and even the defense was like, you don't even know that's the same car entering every single time. So you telling the jury ahead of time, or planning to tell the jury it's suspect vehicle 1 when you can't prove that's the same car is prejudicial.
Guess what? But listen to this though. I can prove the two parked cars that were sitting there by their license plate and their registration that were sitting there.
In front of 1122 or 1112?
The two white ones that are sedans that look like Elantras that were sitting there at the house at a specific time. I can prove that. Do you think I can't?
No, I don't doubt you. I mean, if you got the license plates, you can get proof of ownership. But yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, as far as her point being, yes, I think a lot of us wonder, were the killers already in the house, and did the killing happen over a period of time and not just during the? Again, let's keep in mind too, it's at best. It's 4:07 to 4:20 according to the official timeline, which is 4:07 to 4:20, 13 minutes, right? 13 minutes at best. Then you factor in some walking down to the house and walking back out of the house kind of thing. You're looking at 4 murders in the space of about 8 to 10 minutes, tops. There's a lot of reason to believe that those killings took place over time, and that the screams that we hear between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning indicate people dying or being tortured over a period of time, which would be more consistent. And maybe, as long way of getting to my point, is maybe the car you see speeding off at 4:20 in the morning simply picked somebody up and left, and the killers were already in the house for quite a while, and there was cleanup that took place afterwards, and then somebody got picked up and left. Or it could be completely unrelated, but maybe it was just somebody picking somebody up and leaving the scene after a cleanup.
Yeah, and the person that
I got to bring up. Unfortunately, he's not alive anymore, but I have to mention Tommy Jude. Tommy Jude said he had an FBI source.
Yes.
He said it like a year and a half. He's been saying it for a year and a half, 2 years.
Right.
He said that his FBI source told him that whatever happened, some of this started outside.
Yep.
The house. Yeah.
They were outside at 8:35 a.m. a.m.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I don't think our panel disagrees with the possibility of everything you just said. So it's something that
No,
we all
I don't think they
consider
do
for
either.
sure.
I think they're all on game with my point. I think they all agree with me.
At the end of the day, however, are we ever going to get
An
answer?
answer? No.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
I mean,
clearly, if
one
people
of the
keep
things
putting
that
out-
this made me think of with the car scenario, because I think that's very plausible, is that person, let's say that white car was going to pick somebody up from 1122 that had been there for a while already.
Yeah.
And they
yeah,
were coming to pick them up and didn't know what happened
right.
in the
Well,
house.
I agree. That's why I wonder, was Brian Koberger a patsy to be the driver, getaway driver for Brent Copaka, for him to do the crime? And
Yeah,
that's
and
how
that- and-
he got his DNA on that knife sheath.
Right. And that's something I've speculated for quite a while, is that what if this is funny. It's the very first video I ever did on Idaho 4 on TikTok before I got over here to YouTube was, what if Brian Koberger was the getaway driver? What if literally what if all he did was come pick somebody up who had been there? And what if it is Brian Koberger? What if it is potentially Brian Koberger's car that comes in at 407 and he waits behind the house? I made an argument on a long form video why the dog doesn't start barking until 417, indicating to me Brian Koberger, if it was him, never got out of his car. He just parked behind the house and waited for somebody to exit at 417, get in his car, and they sped away, which means Brian Koberger never went into the house. But it also means somebody could have said, look, I know Brian Koberger was there. I'm going to borrow the words of Bill Thompson. I just can't place Brian Koberger inside the house. Yeah, because he didn't fucking go into the house. He might have been there, but he didn't go into the house. But you know he was there, so you're just going to make it all fit.
Well, and what if it was the opposite, DA?
I agree with that 100%.
What if he drove Copaka there, realized,
That's what I'm saying.
shit,
He was just the driver.
right? Whether it was the getaway or what if he was the get to driver, right? Like,
yeah,
what if he
dropped
drove
him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe Koberger didn't know, and then he had this bad feeling, this gut feeling. He's like, I'm getting the hell out of here, and that's maybe
Yeah, and
why
I
the
gotta
killer.
go.
Right. And here's the $1 million nuance, right? Most places, most states basically treat accomplice to murder the same way that they do as murder, right? So if Brian Koberger, for example, knew what was going to happen, all of this is if. We don't even know that he did drive somebody there. But if he drove somebody there and or picked somebody up after knowing a murder had been committed, one could argue he's still guilty of murder because it's murder, it's accessory after the fact or accomplice to murder, whatever you want to say, it still is murder. Now, the only thing I can share with that is Ron from Custody Queen's team had a great point. I'm not sure that states treat accomplice to murder or accomplice or accessory after the fact as worthy of the death penalty. It may be worthy of life in prison for helping out with the murder, but I don't know if it's death penalty worthy. So that's the other $1 million question. Like, did Koberger simply roll over because, yes, I was there, and it leads to the whole, hey, has anybody else been implicated with this case? Because Brian did know he was there, but he wasn't the guy that did it. He didn't go into the house. But did he just roll over because, look, I'm screwed because I'm an accomplice to murder at minimum, and so I'm going to go down for the rest of my life because I'm an accomplice to murder.
It's like the drive-by shooter.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the only reason he pled guilty is because Ann Taylor's a good lawyer, and listen, he could get out of this with an appeal only due to the fact for false of or failure to I don't know what the term is. I can't remember right now.
Well, he could get out for habeas corpus. Well, it's habeas corpus. If there's two ways.
No, that's not it.
I think to be honest with you, Koberger's out.
Failure to.
I think Koberger's out as this. I honestly think if it ever does get that Koberger gets out on this, here's what it is. Brian Koberger wasn't there when the murders actually happened. He just picked somebody up afterwards. And if it can be proven, because again, the state has already said Brian Koberger was in Pullman until X number of time. If it turns out that he was in Pullman when the murders were happening, that's it. Then he could not have done the crimes he confessed to. It negates the guilty plea. I don't care what you say about, well, he has no appeals. It doesn't matter. You can't plead guilty to something you could not have done. If he physically could not have been there when the murders happened, then that screws that. Now, granted, can he be retried for accomplice to murder? Because they're like, well, look, he knew the person that did the killings. He picked him up afterwards. That's a whole nother ball of wax. But the plea deal of I did it can be negated if it can be proven he couldn't have been there because he was in Pullman and they knew he was in Pullman when the murders happened.
Yeah.
Well, if he had any connection,
Oh, I didn't know it was illegal to live in Pullman.
It's not.
It's not at all.
but if he had any connection to Copaka, let's just say hypothetically.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
We're running with the thread. I'm talking to the panel in general, just to get this idea out. If there was a connection, which I tend to believe there was, based on proximity, and that alone would be a way, if you were going to try to cover something up, because a cover up changes everything. A cover up is not, oh, we just need to find another person. You're deliberately finding another person because you don't want it to get out. If the feds are covering up something like a decorated veteran being involved with something like this, they're going to actively try to find somebody else.
Sure.
And because then that also facilitates keeping things calm at the school. We got our guy. Kids come back to school. They don't lose, thousands of kids deciding to go somewhere else because of this. So if that's a cover up on two fronts, I mean, we need to catch somebody. And if he had some connection to Copaka, that might have been the thread that they pulled to how they got to him, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's called ineffective assistance of counsel, and that's how you have an opportunity to make an appeal.
Right.
After you plead guilty, you only have that. That's your only choice, and it's called ineffective.
Well, there's
failure
ineffective
of
account. Yeah.
And assistance of counsel, and Ann Taylor knew that when she was in trial, or
Well,
not,
he
she was defending him. She knew that.
He actually has a couple options at this point for a couple years.
Yeah, that's not the only one. Yeah,
it's not the only
I'm
one.
pretty sure after you plead guilty, that's the only choice.
You got habeas corpus is the way
habeas corpus, and there's I think
again, if he physically could not have done the things that he committed, that he pled to, the plea's off. Like,
but didn't he have a time limit? He had a time limit of 40
he had 45 days. He had 45 days to file an appeal, which he didn't do. But again, this is the part that I don't know if you're missing, is that it doesn't matter if it's 20 years from now, even though he had 45 days. Right. If 20 years from now it's proven that he could not have done the crimes that he claimed he did, then he's out. That's just the way things work. You cannot plead guilty in this country to something you could not have done. People have been exonerated for crimes that they said they did, spent years, decades in prison, and then released because DNA evidence later said they weren't even there. They couldn't have been at the crime scene, so therefore you got to let them out. So it doesn't matter that his appeals run out if it's ever proven. And the scenario I gave a long time ago is if a video ever comes out where Kohberger's pumping gas at the time the murders are happening, then the plea deal's off, even if he pled to it, because it means he could not have been there committing the murders because he was clear across town somewhere else pumping gas.
Okay, I get you. So so that's just proof then.
Yeah. So what do you got, Bertie? Did you have something too, or?
Well, I had put something backstage and loaded it up.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
I've not shown this anywhere. Actually, I showed my wife this, and I'm like, isn't this a little bit weird? And every picture that I see, have you guys noticed that there's a cop car that's backed in right there? Have you guys ever looked at this? Like damn near every picture, it's right there. So there could be hundreds of pictures that I could have put. I did like 6 or 7 just to get the point across, but you guys can go look on Google. Damn near all of them, at least right after the crime, there's a cop car backed up right there. And
so all the cars that were at the crime have been moved out. Is it how long after the crime has this been?
So obviously they were towed how long after?
9 days.
9 days, yeah.
I think it was 9 days, yeah.
Yeah. So if you play it, Robin, you'll see, because I go through different timelines. Like there's going to be grass, there's going to be snow. My whole point is that why does a cop always park here? And I found one picture, only one, without the cop car there. And this is meant to spark conversation. I don't know what it is. You guys just play it, and we can talk after.
I don't see any controls to hit the play button.
No, there's not. That's
do
what I
it.
was just gonna say.
You got to do it, bud.
Yeah, you got to do it.
All right, my bad. All right, here we go. It's a little bit weird, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Absolutely interesting.
Again, it's damn near every picture.
I think they did that until they brought that little security booth thing that they brought in and parked there. Yeah.
But again, it could be oil. I'm not claiming that's blood, but it is interesting that car is parked there. It squeezes in next to Xana's Honda when their cars are still there. And then even when there's this entire driveway wide open, snow on the ground, they park over that. And if you look, even when there's snow, that part is never covered with snow, but yet it's always covered with a car.
Interesting.
Things
that make you go,
Well, I don't know. My whole, I'll explain it, I guess, layman's term. My thought is, if people have said maybe this started outside, somebody ran downstairs, they ran outside. I don't know. I would have thought they would have rinsed that off. Maybe it's just that cop car parks there in every photo, no matter what time of year.
Yeah.
It was in the same place before the cars were towed, as Whitney James just said. That's what I'm saying is weird. It squeezes in, but then when the cars are gone, and it could park anywhere, it could park in the front of the driveway to block it off. No, it backs in right to that spot. I don't know if you want to play it again. I can do it one more time. But
hey, Birdie, Birdie,
what up?
What do you think about that key that was left on that rock?
Yeah, somebody brought that up the other day. Isn't that like an old car key?
It looks like it is,
it's definitely old.
I'm not sure.
And I think it goes to that. I think it's the RAV4, the blue one, which was owned by. I'm trying to think of her name.
The Honda, the blue one was a Honda. That was Xana's car.
Was that Xana's blue SUV?
To be honest,
on the side, on the street.
I would chalk it up to just, again, things that make you go.
I'm sorry, BS. You're talking about out on the road. That was somebody that lived
yes.
That was the girl that was supposed to move in, but she hadn't officially moved in yet.
Emma McClure.
Yeah.
The one that picked Bethany up, that pulled in that, yeah.
So
I believe I don't know why, but I feel like that was the car key to that vehicle, and I don't know why it was left on a rock. I don't know. It's just weird.
Tell me what. By the way, tell me.
I would never leave my car key on a rock.
Don't hit play. Don't. Oh no.
No. I'm not. I'm gonna mute it.
I was gonna show you something that you had on that screen that we were showing. I was just curious.
I'll go back. I'll go back.
That last frame. I was just like, look, like what's with the ladder? What's with the ladder propped up against the balcony thing up there?
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's weird too, because if you listen to Dylan, when she's talking to Detective Gooch, which whether people want to say Gooch is in on the cover up or not, I think Gooch is the only one that backtracks, re-asks questions.
Yes, sir.
Kind of decides when she's going to take her knockout punch or her jabs, right? When it comes to making sure your story stays straight. It is weird that Gooch says, well, if from our experience, like the killer would have to enter the back door or the sliding door, they would expose themselves essentially to you. And right away, Dylan Mortensen says, well, unless he went up onto this balcony and completely suggests something. And so it is a little bit weird that they leave this ladder almost in plain sight. Like this is just normal.
Yeah. But the ladder's not in other shot. The ladder's not in other shots.
Like, hey, look over there. Look at that ladder. Like, do you see?
And the blood stains on the first roof.
By the way, I hate to do this because normally I wrap up at about 2 hours, but as my team always reminds me, you don't have to cut it off at 2 hours. You can go as long as you want to go. So let me say this:
I'm here for
7
it, bro.
hours. 7 hours. Come on,
here
7
for it.
Very
hours.
often.
I'm
DA,
not Lana. I'm not doing a fucking 7 hour fucking ride. I'm not doing it. But the point being is, did you see? I want to ask your opinion because Birdie, I haven't talked to you about this, and I don't know if you saw my video on this, and I don't blame you if you don't watch all my fucking videos because I don't get to watch all your videos. But did you see the story of Jose
Cruz.
Jose Cruz? So an individual who had broken into a house in Pullman, Washington, with a group of sorority girls off campus, came in the middle of the night with a ski mask on and a knife, was kicked by one of the girls and ran. Now I should say this. Allegedly, they believed it was Jose Cruz, right? It wasn't proven to be him, but they suspected he was, and he was investigated, and his alibi didn't look good. Previous to that, that same guy was also in another incident of claiming to break into a girl's place and watching them sleep, but not necessarily with a knife and a mask. And so what I asked was, is this an escalating pattern? Did we have somebody over the years that was breaking into girls' rooms in places that were in crowded neighborhoods, off-campus sorority girls, watching them sleep? It started early with it just watching, then escalated to a mask and a knife, thinking about doing something, but it didn't happen, and then eventually went to murders. Was Jose Cruz ever suspected of this crime and looked into? What was his alibi for the night of the 1122 murders?
Well, you bring up a good point because one of the things that I think is seldomly talked about is if the people in the house that were killed were really not the target, right? So I've always said if the motive for the killings wasn't the girls and it could have been the house, does a murder in that house put the murder maybe potentially on the map? Is one of my thoughts. I'm not saying the survivors, but I'm saying if Jose Cruz comes in and randomly is doing this and he's escalating and everybody knows that 1122 is maybe, running drugs or doing whatever, the property owner's weird and he's got a sketchy connection to the guy in the Mad Creek and the feds are like, oh my God, what just happened? We have this house that has been, on our radar forever and some weirdo that's been escalating his patterns, right? So I think of in the terms of why would you cover something like that up? Because an escalating pattern would not get covered up. But if it was the house then, right, and they want to cover up not necessarily the murder, they want to cover up either a message or something that may have been going on in that house, then I can absolutely wrap my head around what you're saying, DA.
I want to know what this person's
because
comment
nothing
was.
happens in Moscow. That's
Right.
why.
What is Jose Cruz is listed in the unredacted forensics docs? Is that the new ones that just came out? The brand new docs, is Jose Cruz listed in that? That's what I'm curious about.
Well, we know they tested his cigarette butt from him.
Oh,
yeah.
From Jose
I know
Cruz.
his DNA. Yeah, his DNA
They
didn't
followed him
match.
around
So
for a while too.
right. So his DNA doesn't match the unknown male DNA that was recovered inside the house. So we know
But
that.
then you have to ask yourself if it was, if that, it doesn't, for me, it doesn't make sense. If it was that kind of guy, why go through all the efforts to frame Brian Koberger for something that Jose Cruz did? It doesn't make sense.
I have an even simpler question. Why didn't you have tested those phones for DNA?
Say again.
I don't, the phones, like the cell phones of the victims?
Yes.
I don't know that they did or they didn't.
know that they didn't, right?
Yeah, we don't know.
We need the metadata.
Well,
Yeah.
I just want evidence.
Right. A lot of us want evidence. That's the problem with this. That's the problem with this case. Is a lot.
Yeah.
Why didn't you get evidence?
We don't even have the official autopsies.
What investigation was this? I want to know. What kind of investigation were you doing?
Yeah.
Because to me,
they didn't do one, in my opinion.
No.
Well, if you knew who the killer was early on, then you wouldn't need to.
Exactly.
To do that much of an
Thank you
investigation.
very much. If you already know, you don't need to know, right?
Well, that's what we've been saying about the potential
Thank you. I rest my
connection between Copaka.
I rest my case.
Because that would explain a lot of the other things.
Right.
It would explain Payne's involvement as like a fixer. It would explain why the people close to the victims were not really thoroughly investigated like you would think they would be, it would explain a lot of things. It would explain many things, many aspects of it that they knew who it was, and they had bigger powers did not want that to get out. So they essentially facilitated covering that up. And when the big dogs are involved, man, they could pull a lot of strings very easily.
Can I ask one a question? And one obviously I know you only answer this if you're able to, but or if you want to answer this in like a third party or whatever, but have you ever witnessed or heard about a cover up? And if so, I understand that it's most likely not on this scale, but I was talking to one of my cousins who's in the DA, like active DA, ex-Marine sniper guy, saw him at Christmas, and he was saying, I'm like, how do you expose a cover up at this point as the public? And he said, it has to get to a point where the pressure is so insurmountable and the alternate theories are putting people involved in the case at such a high pressure point or a high risk where even the people involved in it are begging for the authorities to start telling the truth.
Right.
And it's kind of a dirty tactic, but have you ever seen maybe something like that where that's happened on a smaller scale?
Not really.
That would be interesting.
Not really. I mean, I've seen, we have all the time different operations going on by outside units, drug operations, and I haven't really been on anything that had Homeland Security, but
Right.
I have seen the marshals. I have seen, believe it or not, they make a big deal about there's like a big thing going on. I don't know, maybe out west, but out here with cigarettes, the untaxed, it's like a big thing, the untaxed cigarettes. No, I haven't really seen that.
It's funny because you Bertie, you inadvertently made me want to ask one a question so we can get right back to Idaho 4 because I realize this isn't a bigger case, but in the Luigi Mangione case, Tish had a hard on to make sure NYPD got to the killer Luigi Mangione before the feds, and she wanted to make sure that they were the first to beat them. Have you ever been in a situation, and maybe you can't talk about it directly, but indirectly, where you've seen the feds and NYPD get in a pissing match over who's going to be the one to get the credit for an arrest or whatever, and watch jurisdictional issues happen and fights over who's going to get the credit for it first?
Like a Super Troopers moment.
Yeah.
RV.
Yeah. That stuff is, I've seen some argument I've even seen arguments on a lower level from that. People always want the publicity. So.
Right. We're the one to catch the bad guys. It was NYPD's great work, or it was FBI's great work, or And that seemed to be the case in Luigi's case, where she was really trying to get all hands on deck to have the feather in her cap that they caught Luigi Mangione before the feds did.
She's trying to grab the feather in the cap, but she didn't know all the details of the arrest.
Right.
I love that you said that, Bertie, because I was thinking that exactly at that exact moment when you said it too. That's hilarious.
Yeah. DA, did you see the comment about somebody? I think it was Happy Hounds said, Bertie, what does the panel think about the post that you said that I saw that they were murdered at midnight? And I know that when I talked to you on the phone, DA, I said I've been using this VPN.
Yeah.
Russian server. Did I show you this yet?
No, you didn't. No.
That's what I was asking.
I heard. Yeah, right. I heard people talking about it. They're like, "You got to see what Bertie just did." And I'm like, "Okay, what did he do?" Like,
well, you said Hunter, and I'm like, well, I don't know if you meant Quinn, so I got it pulled up here.
Okay, let me see if
it's a short article. This is written on December 12th of 2022. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up to everybody in the chat is DA and I have theorized many times about Quinn Kelly's involvement, and was he in Boise? Was he not? Was there some sort of alibi that's bullshit? I mean, I've got his old tweets screenshotted that I'm going to show on stream of where he's like, "See, I was here this night, and it's like 2:48. Says Boise." All this shit, right?
Convenient.
But I did find this article written by a Christopher Stern, December 12th, 2022. It says Dylan Mortensen boyfriend Reddit final summary, and I want to go right to this. Who is Dylan Mortensen's boyfriend? And it says Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen were the two girls who survived the quadruple attack on Idaho, Moscow. So this is written outside the U.S., just to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were the victims, as well as Kaylee Goncalves and Maddie Mogan. These four were stabbed to death at midnight on November 13th of 2022. According to their statements, the girls had hidden in the basement during the murders. Quinn Kelly was Dylan Mortensen's boyfriend and called 911 to report the incident. On his appearance at the spot, comments are being posted on Instagram and Reddit. There are just a few personal details we found in our search. The public is curious to know why Quinn was there at the time of the attack and how he knew about the attack in order to inform police. Many netizens searched Quinn Kelly's TikTok account for Dylan Mortensen's boyfriend to get to know him. Quinn Kelly called 911 to get help after the attack, but he informed the police 8 hours later. According to the police, the person who gave the information was not involved in the case. Many later questioned how police could give such a clear statement and not proceed further. We found some info on Quinn Kelly's parents, criminal records in our search, yada, yada, yada. It goes into it, but wow, even just right there, that's...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think to myself, is it even physically possible for the murders to have started at midnight?
Well, is it? See, here's the thing. I always say this. If you question...
I'm going to go back to they were in the house.
But my thing is this, is you have to understand, is this a cover-up? Yes.
Yeah.
What do you do in a cover-up? You change the timeline. You change the windows of time where things happen. I'm not saying that this article is real.
Yeah.
Or I'm saying, not that I don't know if it's real. I just saw it. It was the first thing that I saw. I'm like, holy hell. But how far away is Boise in a drive in an F-350 Ford pickup? How many times you stop for gas?
It's about 5.5. It's about 5.5 hours or 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
I think it's 6. Yeah.
So my whole point is this: is like, was there the cleanup and then waiting for him to get back to Boise for the whole alibi thing? Was my thought. I don't know.
Well, and again, I've beaten this to death, but I always felt, I don't know why, I have no reason. So pure speculation, and I'm not making any accusations, but I always felt that Dylan Mortensen saying that she called her boyfriend, who was in Boise, hanging out with another girl, and talked to the two of them on the phone, specifically saying she talked to the female on the phone.
Yes.
Seemed suspicious as fuck to me. Because again, if people were saying they saw Dylan's truck, they saw Quinn's truck in Moscow that night. And how convenient would it be for you to have some girl say, hey, Dylan, place a phone call to my phone. Some girl that I know is going to pick up the phone and talk to you. That'll establish my alibi that I'm 5.5, 6 hours away from Moscow and could not have done the murders, because you're going to establish my alibi with the phone call. And there's no proof. There's no proof that he was on that call. All you know is maybe at best you could verify a phone call took place between his phone and that. But how come he couldn't have left that phone with somebody in Boise to establish the alibi? Hey, my phone was in Boise, but he might not have been in Boise. This is one of the things, I know I'm on a rant. This is one of the things I keep telling people. Phone activity is not proof of life.
Phone does not make you accountable for anything.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
They could have gotten into their phone. Whoever was the assailant could have gotten into their phone easily. Do you understand me? They could have met. This is what I am really stuck with right now, is the phone calls that Dylan made to Bethany, Maddie, Kaylee, even Dana, all of them, from 4:17 to 4:22 a.m.
Even oh my God, I hate saying this.
Nobody answered except there was one 17-minute call or 14-minute call. I'm not sure.
17 minutes.
17-minute call to, I believe, Bethany.
A perfect example. I want to know.
That does not contest that you have made a murderer.
Right.
Okay.
So listen, like I want to know Xana's activity So some people keep saying, and it's funny because Birdie's been one of the first people to say,
that you're
Brian
covering.
Laundrie texted from Gabby's phone to establish that Gabby was still alive.
Yeah.
Some people will say, well, Gabby had to be alive. She was texting her family. You fucking morons. Like, just because the phone's texting people doesn't tell you who's using the phone. But people will say the same thing about me. DA, you're a moron. Xana was awake and alive at 4:12 because she's on TikTok and she texted and she left a message. I want to prove that the message said what it does. Because I'll tell you one more time, if you haven't heard me say it before, if the message that Xana left on TikTok at 4 something in the morning was, don't forget the foundation under the bathroom, then I will tell you, I think that somebody was using her phone and was trying to send a message to look under the foundation of the bathroom. You know what they did? They tore the fucking house down. So you won't see the foundation underneath the bathroom.
Ding. What do we have for him, Johnny?
That's
right?
Very good point.
Well, one of the things about Quinn,
for sure what she did text,
right? The whole Quinn Kelly thing, you know, I don't know. I don't know why, if he was involved, there would be a cover up to protect him. But here's a theory that I have: if he was at the house earlier, he could have been. It could have been related to party favors, and Dylan does not want him to be connected to something going down in the house. So she changes the timeline to 4 a.m. when he can't be connected to being anywhere in the area. And maybe he's there earlier, but she doesn't want the police to know that he's there earlier because the reason why he was there. And so she concocts a story around that. And that's just how I explain why she would maybe shift things around, because he was there earlier for another reason. And
I know Birdie's chomping at the bit to say something. I'll try to be brief, Birdie, real quick. This comment right here, right? How do you know that the killers, after people were dead, didn't use Xana's phone to create a false timeline?
Exactly.
Because again, if you don't want people to know the murders had happened at 2:30 and you want them to believe it happened at 4, during the cleanup, you pick up one of the victims' phones and you make the text or a comment or something that will then shift the timeline.
The phones.
The TikTok, yeah, exactly, Lee. That's 100% right. And then, sorry, Birdie, I know you were going to say something. Go ahead, bud.
No, finish your point.
I was just going to say, like, to what Joe said, what would be the reason to cover something like this up? My opinion, if Quinn was involved and there was a cover up for him, it's based on who he's affiliated with, in my opinion. That's truly what I would think it would be, honestly, God.
So I'm glad you just said that, because that's a great segue into what my theory is. And if you all remember, take it for what it is with Steve G and Brat Norton and those texts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was talking about, he said Peterson instead of Patterson, right, for the book. And 2 years ago. And obviously James Patterson then releases a book exactly a couple weeks before trial. So there's some validity there, right? And getting in touch with a member of the grand jury. Well, do you guys remember in those texts? Because when I saw this, I thought, holy shit, what if this is the lead that Steve G was told by the FBI that he could absolutely not pursue because this individual was protected by them? If you remember that.
Yes.
Yes.
That would make sense.
Hey, Birdie.
That's a good point, bro. Very good point.
Thank you. Yeah, that
What
was my
about
thought.
his hat?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. What's that?
What about his hat? The hex
Oh, Steve G's and the hex.
The hex hat.
that he wore in every interview.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone down a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
rabbit
I
holes.
just don't like that guy.
I mean, that sums that up right there.
Tell us how you really
don't like
feel.
that guy.
Right.
No, I don't.
But
I don't think he's being honest.
well, but then I see, so just to finish the point on the whole.
And then he's got a hex on his hat that he wears in the interview. I feel bad for his wife because she's probably like lost in the dark.
Go ahead, Birdie. What do you got there?
So I was going to say about the lead with Quinn potentially being somebody that's protected by the FBI. So I think about that. I'm like, okay, if Quinn Kelly's father was arrested in that area, he's been in and out of jail. Could he be somebody that might be, an arm of an informant for a father who's flipping in prison? Or is he a protected person because his father is flipping on people in prison to reduce his sentence? Something. And he shouldn't have been there, or he was there, or maybe he was trying to protect Dylan from something that he had overheard. But my point is this, is a lot of people think that that's Quinn Kelly's truck. I'm actually a firm believer because I've gotten the VIN number, and I see the two owners on it of the F-350 Black Ford, and it is the Mortensen family. And then I found Dylan Mortensen's dad's TikTok way back in the day, as many people did, and you compare the mirrors of him driving in a truck, and it's an F-350 mirrors. He had the aviators on, like you got one. And so I started thinking, I'm like, holy shit, this is really weird, because when you hear on the 1112 camera, okay, so I listened to this today. I didn't show this on my stream because I had booking with B on, but I was planning on this if she wasn't able to. 1112 around 257, 258, you hear a door shut. Do you guys remember the Facebook comment of the camera crew that had a camera set up on a tripod? And they said right around whatever they said, 3 a.m., we saw a girl run out the side of the house.
Yes.
And then get up into a black truck. Well, okay, that's 257, 258. Well, then you look at the Banfield body cam, it's 3 a.m. and 47 seconds. You look at the Linda Lane dumpster cam, it cuts out right at 3 o'clock and 56 seconds and kind of glitches. So I'm like, was that the black truck staged up on Walenta or Ridge Road, and somebody ran out the side of the house like that person had posted on Facebook, got to the truck, went down Walenta, went past the Banfield stop, and hightailed it out of there? You think 6-7 hours driving with filling up gas? Well, shit. You might be back in Boise around when that 911 call comes in.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
And Dylan's dad, we looked into this years ago. Dylan's dad owns a truck just like that, you guys. No bullshit.
So I want to before I get the panel's discussion.
I'm gonna lose my shit.
What the fuck am I doing? I'm 2 hours and 25 minutes, and I never go this long. Somebody stop me. All right, so hold on.
Wait, that is the
We're
first
having too
time
much fun.
you're ever saying that. I never go this long. Somebody,
we're halfway to
Listen,
6 hours.
I want to do a poll real quick, because before I talk to the panelist, you mentioned, Birdie, I think it was you that mentioned the Brat, Norton, Steve Gonzalez text messages. I don't know that everybody knows about that conversation, so I'm going to do a poll real quick in YouTube. What do you think the cell phone text messages that have been leaked online between Steve Gonzalez and Brat Norton, do you think there's authentic? Your choices are yes, no, or I have no idea who that is, because a lot of people don't know who Brat Norton is. So I just want to do a quick a straw poll before the panel discuss on it. Do you think the cell phone text messages that have been shown and leaked online between Steve Gonzalez and Brat Norton were authentic? Before I ask the panelist about what was said in those text messages. So let me see if this fires off. I'm gonna do a poll on YouTube. All right, so it should be running right now.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna get my water.
Okay. All right, so we got 50% no clue, 52% no clue.
I don't know who he is.
Okay, that's fine. That's what I wanted to find out. What's weird is I'm only getting like one answer. How come I'm not getting the full like description of every answer? I'm just getting one line. Yes, 51% is leading. 50% yes. No clue is 47%. Do any of you see the whole poll? Because I'm only seeing.
I see the poll. I heard about the texts, and I know who Brat Norton is, but I don't know what was said in the texts.
If you see the whole poll, can anybody tell me what the total number of votes are and what the stats are?
68 votes.
68 votes.
68 votes.
44. Oh shit, it's gone now.
44
says yes. 13 says. I'm sorry, Robin.
Yeah, go ahead.
45 says yes. 12 says no, and 42 says no clue who that is.
All right. So perfect. We'll just end that there. Thank you so much for participating in the poll. It sounds like about half the audience doesn't know exactly what we're talking about. And I want to bring up a couple points and get your comments as a collective. Brat Norton, from what I understand, was a YouTuber, not necessarily YouTube. Was it TikTok? Was Brat Norton on TikTok or YouTube?
If you want, I can tell you I was affiliated with her in the beginning.
Please do. Yeah, give us the rundown of Brat Norton.
It was part of we were working together at the beginning. She was a TikToker that came to YouTube that was working both. Okay. And she, there's a whole story behind this. I absolutely believe they were real, but there's a whole reason behind it. When I had the text message, I had them somewhere. Okay.
I had them too. Yeah.
Yeah, they were coming from Gonzo Gonsalves. That was Steve's Facebook name, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Undercover per se, whatever you want to call it. And there were plenty of things going on. She was doing all of this because she thought she was going to get rich through Howard Blum, blah, 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 so on and so forth, to try to get, she intertwined herself into the middle of the thing. So there's a whole thing behind it. There's a lot of lies in there. She was also behind the Dot situation, involved in that as well, and many more things that were absolutely not true within the case. So she caused
cyber sleuths.
A lot of havoc. Sorry, go ahead.
So I want to clarify what you just said. One, do you believe the text messages that are shown online frequently as being between Gonzo / Steve Gonsalves and Brat were a legitimate conversation?
I do.
They were.
Also, fun, not a fun fact, but Brat Norton was the first ever live stream that I did on TikTok.
No shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. She reached out to me. We've talked on the phone. So I haven't known her as long as Dago has, but I would say this, like, at least in my experience from talking to her, like, she 100% believes, I think, what she is looking into. And she's very aware of what I'm going to kind of assume Dago is referring to as the lies that were woven in. She's very aware of that. Yeah.
Okay. So great. I'm freaking going for a world record on length of my live tonight. But I need to ask this question for the panel. What I keyed in on in the conversation, because I think as well that the conversation between Brat Norton and Gonzo is actually Steve Gonsalves and Brat, and I think it's legitimate. Two of the things that really bugged me the most was Steve said something to the effect of, remember Bethany saw somebody getting out of clothes in the kitchen. And I've said all along that I think Bethany Funk has exculpatory information because she saw somebody in the kitchen that they've been protecting and not letting people know that Bethany saw somebody in the kitchen. And the kicker is who she saw wasn't fucking Brian Koberger. And they know it wasn't Brian Koberger. And if she had been allowed to testify about who she saw in the kitchen, it wouldn't match Brian Koberger's description, and they'd be fucked. And I think that's a legitimate conversation that Steve said, remember, Bethany saw somebody getting into clothes or changing clothes in the kitchen. So do you think, panelists, that that's a legitimate conversation? Did it really happen? And is it possible Bethany Funk did see somebody that night and it wasn't Brian Koberger?
I don't think Bethany was even in that house. I think it was Dylan that changed the clothes. I think he was right. I think that is the exculpatory evidence. Bethany was not even on the scene.
Okay, well,
it was Dylan.
Yeah, go ahead, Dago.
I respectfully disagree. I believe they were both there, and I respect anybody's thoughts that doesn't think so. But if you notice that whole thing that came out where it said Bethany has exculpatory evidence for Brian, correct? And then for some reason that disappeared. That got shut down. It was no longer a thing. I believe that there was a conversation had, maybe a threatening conversation had, which is one of the main reasons why Bethany wants nothing to do with anything anymore, why she stayed away. I think there was threats made towards her, in my opinion, about that situation possibly. And that's why that disappeared. She withdrew her statements, in my opinion, and that was the end of it. That's my opinion. I'll just say that.
Would you agree, Dago, just real quick to backtrack on what I was kind of saying about Brat when you talked with her? She believes everything, but she also is very aware of where these things kind of happened.
I'm going to tell you, Bertie, in my opinion with her, I think she knows truth, but I also think that she knows the lies that she was telling and what they were about. I'll just say that. Okay. If that answers your question, but I hope it does.
Well, it does. You know her better than I do. It's just crazy to me that was the first, live that I really did with anybody, and she was always very nice to me, so I have nothing bad to say about her. And
no, I get it, and she was like that with us too in the beginning until the other side of things came out, and we were all like, "Whoa!" I mean, it was all about money money. The Paramount Plus thing was coming out. She engrabbed herself with WSU mom Kim, so on and so forth. And that's when I kind of detached and backed away and said, I'm not in this. I don't want nothing to do with that mess. And things went there.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I've always felt that Bethany is a clear major part of this case. The fact that she ran and went to Nevada and booked out of there.
Heard from her.
And didn't show up in the victim impact statement, even though Dylan did. All of that speaks volumes. There's something Bethany knows that Bethany doesn't want any fucking part of having to tell her story. And I think law enforcement wants no part of Bethany telling her story. They're trying to protect her to not tell her story.
Yes, sir.
Or what she knows is something that somebody above MPD doesn't want to get out.
Right.
Which is, again, what the thread for me has been tonight, is that if somebody was involved that the feds didn't want to be connected to this case, and Bethany had information about that, they could easily make it look like she doesn't want to get involved, but they don't want her to get involved. And I always
they don't want her involved.
If one thing was off with this case or two things were off that were inconsistent, you could argue coincidence, happenstance. But when so many different things, the Copaka being killed in a standoff, that whole story being swept under the rug so quick, all the other inconsistencies, why wouldn't law enforcement be able to, and the defense be able to get her if she had exculpatory evidence? It points to a much larger thing. I've been saying this all along.
Well, I'm gonna
ask a question, and I'm afraid that maybe I'm too many whiskey and cokes into this to ask this question. But
Listen, that's a hell of a way to lead. I hope this is an amazing question, DA.
Agreed.
Do you remember? I don't remember where exactly what was said. Steve Gonzalez, somewhere it was reported that Steve Gonzalez was about to reach out to somebody and ask them questions about this case. Yes. And he was told, do not talk to that person. They're a confidential informant and you can't talk to them. Do you remember this conversation? Where was it leaked that Steve Gonzalez was going to talk to? Because I always thought it was Bethany that he was going to ask questions.
He said it himself.
It came from the text with Brad Norton, and that's what I was saying. It might be Quinn. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, he said it himself.
Who was he? Yeah,
I don't know.
Steve Gonzalez, Dago. You're saying Dago, or you're saying Steve Gonzalez himself said that he was told not to talk to this person.
He made a statement. I can't remember exactly when and where it was, but I remember it clearly. It was in an interview that he did, and he said that he was going to reach out. He was supposed to meet an informant at a hotel. And as he was going to go do that and get, that situation was going to go down, the FBI said, if you do this, you will be arrested. Do not do this. Yes. You better stay away from this person. End of story. Okay. So that absolutely did happen. According to him, it came out of his
text too, though. It's
in
the
text too. That's right. Yeah. In the text between the two.
And so you think, let me ask the panel, for those who know that, who do you think he was going to talk to?
Here,
and wait, told not to.
I hope this shows up clearly.
Let me make it full screen, Birdie. Hold on.
There you go.
Oh, hold on.
All right, I'll read it. It says this one told the FBI and is under their protection, hence why this FBI warned me not to pursue the lead that I found. I can't say anything or they will come after me. That is literally what they told me.
That's absolutely what was in the text between him and Brat. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Look, there's a part of me. I'm sorry, Birdie. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
There's a part of me that's always, I know that I'm one of the only people who say this. There's a part of me that sympathizes with Steve Gonzalez because I feel like he's been handcuffed and I would be the same way. Like, go fuck yourselves. Why don't somebody talk about the truth? Don't make me be the alpha. Somebody fucking say something because you want me all to just shut up and you won't be a man. So why don't you, sorry, I'm getting a little hot. Why don't you be the man and step up, be the alpha, and fucking say something? Don't make me be the guy that has to tell you. Oh yeah, Tigo biddies. Anyways, that's my.
No, you're right on, Da, because especially when you listen to him and Chrissy in the interview room with McDonough, And you listen to him say, I mean, at a certain point, Steve is in a full-on crash out saying, we've heard he's got Alzheimer's. This piece of what, like, he is, and that was November 2nd of 2025. I mean, so that's just about 2 months ago. And
I agree with
losing
you.
his mind.
Yeah, he's definitely, I agree with Bertie on that one, completely detaching at that point. It like enough is enough. You know what I mean?
Robin? Robin, the audience wants to know if you ever fucking
No, Robin talks. Okay. Yeah, I think it was either Bethany, very possibly, or I've always thought that Quinn was in this up to his eyeballs in one way or another. I think maybe he was there, possibly, allegedly, maybe to was it some type of an initiation from Daddy Dearest or that whole crew? And things went horribly wrong. He couldn't do what he was supposed to do. Dylan was a perfect choice to help get him in there. And I know some people don't believe the frats could be involved at all, but there are reasons to believe that one or two possibly could have. So I think you have this whole coalescing ball of whatever was going down there, these pressure points from here, there, and everywhere. And so I think that Steve very possibly could have been going to talk to either Bethany or Quinn or both, and he was put to a stop. And that's why he never got around to talking to these people.
Can I ask something real fast?
Yeah,
First off, that's an amazing statement, Robin. Very good point. Very good point. Real quick, you guys remember the text messages, and it's something I wanted to bring up before, but I keep forgetting. With Bethany, where she called parents multiple times until she spoke to somebody, right? Okay. And then we see her when Nunez arrives standing at the pole, and we know she was standing there. I'm telling you guys, I feel completely on it, like absolute about this. I think Bethany was going to leave before the police showed up. I think she was told by her parents possibly to get the fuck out, to get away from it while she can. I think she was going to leave and get the hell out of Dodge when Jenna showed up, because Jenna, we know she has called Jenna before to pick her up and get her out of situations, per se. And Jenna was on her way there. And I think the only reason why she didn't leave with Jenna is because Nunez showed up and said nobody's leaving. So
Diego, was Bethany the one out of Dylan and Bethany? Was Bethany the one whose dad was an attorney or whatever, and she kind of lawyered up first?
Dylan's stepmother is an attorney.
Okay.
Isn't Bethany's father too?
Dad is a dentist.
Yeah, I think Bethany lawyered up first and had people.
She did get an attorney. Yeah, she got an attorney.
Yeah.
Her dad's a dentist, though.
Yeah,
I can't remember. There's a relative in her family that is somebody. But yeah, I think for sure she was told to get the fuck out and get away from it as fast as you can. In turn, I think that's what was going to happen. And I gotta wonder if they wouldn't have showed up, if she would have taken off. If she would have completely denied any association being there or having anything to do with that situation that night.
I got to give a shout out to somebody that I've been recently watching a ton of their content. If you guys don't watch it, you guys need to check them out. Karmic Retribution has been putting out some bangers. And they have one of the best explanations via video of what Dago has been thinking and what a lot of people have probably been saying. But I agree with you, Dago. And that video does a really good, if you've seen that, I'm not sure if you have. But I think Karmic Retribution took that idea and showed it. She's like, where's Bethany? And then it's showing the damn RAV4 turning around when you see the cop car pulling in and then trying to parallel park and panicking. And then she's across the street after they move all the people from by the front door. It's like, whoa, how did we miss that?
That is absolutely what I think was going to happen, you guys. I'm telling you, if Nunez would have been 5 minutes later, she'd have been gone. I'm telling you, I think she'd have been gone, and there'd have been she'd have denied any connection to that situation, in my opinion.
And
Bethany,
why
Bethany.
you could have gotten that advice? That's another question, because I think that if you get that advice to do so, you're probably getting honest advice.
Yes.
Right. You're probably getting honest advice from somebody who's a dentist, maybe a caring family. Right. I would think that they would probably be like, well, whether you were there, whether you didn't know, whatever it is, just come home.
You did right. She called dad, then mom, then home, and then dad called back. She called everybody trying to find something. And I'm telling you, that told me right there reading that.
It's such
she
a
was
good
looking
point.
for an answer to something. And I think when dad finally called her back, he said, you need to get the fuck out now. And
that's what I would say. That's what I would say.
And why do you need to get the fuck out if it's an incel from Pullman who just randomly came over and killed a bunch of people at 4:00 in the morning?
Because I think she knows the difference. She knows the absolute truth to that, in my opinion. And probably said to her dad, this is insane. This was somebody that we know, blah, 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 so on and so forth.
I totally think she
What if that's the exculpatory? What if that's the exculpatory?
Exactly.
She sent a text saying, this person killed my roommates.
Yep.
Yeah, I think she knows who did it.
I agree with you. I fully
It could
agree.
be that simple. It could be that simple, guys.
Yep.
She could have texted her father, it was this person that just came in and killed my roommates.
Or if
I
listen,
think a lot
if
of
there
them
were,
know.
if there was, if
They
this
all, a
was,
lot of them lied.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
there's a lot of lies going on.
Oh,
If this
a lot.
was a drug house, it could have been also that she knew what was going on in that house, and she didn't. They were getting her away from that because if Quinn was there that night, relating to party favors, and that's why the story was told by Dylan that makes no freaking sense, and that was him bailing out of there that night. Bethany could have been freaking out because she didn't want to be connected, thinking that they were going to get connected to drug dealing.
JJ.
And then, it's just one of the things I think about.
JJ, I gotta get you over onto my stream because I want to talk to you about the funding stuff. I know we were kind of talking the last time, but also in addition to that, you had just brought up Dylan's statement. One of the things that really stuck out to me, I'm not sure if everybody else caught this, but did you notice that when, it might've been Gooch, maybe it was Blaker that was asking her in one of the interviews, they had asked about recreational drug use. And did you notice that when Maddie came up, the one that's rumored to have, again, in one hypothesis in theory, to have flushed things, as soon as Maddie's name got brought up, she goes, oh no, Maddie would never touch that. Almost in a way of a very defensive for her, where I'm like, okay, that's a little bit weird.
I got, as an aside, Joe, I have to throw you under the bus, man.
Okay, good.
Because here's the thing, Joe. I've hung out with you I've hung out with you in hotel rooms. I know you.
Wait, pause. Yeah. You guys are hanging out in hotel rooms.
Oh yeah. I've gotten warm and cozy.
I think it's the ringleader.
Joe, I know you know the F word. You're on my show and you literally say the word frickin'. You can drop an F bomb. You're gonna leave me hanging all by myself. Am I the only one who gives a fuck around here about getting angry about something? You're gonna be like, well, he frickin' did this. Come on, Joe.
I curse enough as it is.
Holy shoot, Joe.
I'm trying to average it out a little bit.
Am I the only one who's not a gentleman on this show? All right.
What
were you gonna throw?
No, I'm not.
I'm gonna throw him under the bus because I know he knows how to use the F word, but he comes on here on my show and he's all gentleman-like with I think he freaking did this, and I'm like, no, you can say the F bomb.
Come on, I've called this case a fuck fest. I mean,
there you go.
There you go.
There you go. All right, it's fair.
I mean,
We're
it's no worse
adults.
than
We're
me. Every
adults
time
here.
I do it, I apologize to Robin. So come on now.
Well, Robin wouldn't be on this show as a co-producer if she couldn't handle the F word. I'll guarantee you that much. I wouldn't be having her on as a co-producer if she was offended by my language.
She heard us. We did the members only live stream from Moscow. Me and DA were drunk, and we were probably
That was damn good times.
We were dropping F-bombs left and right.
Oh my God. That was hysterical. If you guys aren't members, become a member just to watch that freaking footage. It is hysterical.
It was not. It was not my best look because I was many
You get
sheets
to
to the
see
wind, and I did not
DA
look
and
real
Joe drunk over that.
good. All right, look. It's approaching
I've
3
seen
hours.
you.
I've never done 3 hours before. Let's do this. Let's do I call BS as a good night, and we'll remove her from stage, and then we'll go around the horn. Birdie, JJ, Dago, 1-1, Robin, and I'll sign us off. So how about we do that? I call BS. First of all, thank you for coming on the show tonight and giving us some questions for the panel to discuss. We had a lot of discussion about your prompts. So thank you so much for giving us something to talk about. Do you want to say anything to the audience on the way out tonight? Uh-oh, you're either muted or you
Why
got
not,
really quiet.
Robin?
What's that?
I'm sorry?
It's a shit show.
You're kind of cutting out for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm
Thank you
telling
very much.
Whatever just happened was a complete total train wreck. First of all, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. We're gonna let you go, and we're gonna go
Is
around
that
the horn
illegal?
saying good night. She's in the
Have
middle of
a
a sentence.
great
I'm
night.
gone. You're gone. I'm out. I'm sorry. Pardon. I try to be better to my guests. Birdie, I'm going to wait till you're in the middle of a sentence. I'm going to cut you off as well.
No, that's okay. You can do that. I'm excited for next Monday to have you up on the stream. JJ, shoot me an email tonight or tomorrow whenever you get time. Let's get a date scheduled.
Right on, man.
But no, I just think it's really cool that you've been doing these crimes after dark. It's cool. Like you and Outcast, Dago. Like I think it's cool that you guys go. You have a panel on. It's something that it's just really nice to be able to tune into when you got some time. Whether you're doing cardio on the treadmill, whether you're driving, whatever it is, I appreciate it. I think that I get a lot of like little tidbits or angles that maybe I haven't thought about before, and that's what this is about. So from somebody that bangs their head against this damn wall of this case every damn day, it is refreshing to get on here, laugh, squeeze a fake titty, and hang out with you all. So I appreciate you letting me on up here. It was great to see you all. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Have a great night.
All right.
Brother.
Yeah. Thank
See
you,
you, Birdie.
Whenever you come on, it brings a smile to my face. I love you, brother. I think with that, I've always enjoyed what you've done for my show. I still am super appreciative about you, and I love what you do. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a real pleasure.
It is my honor, DA. I love you too, brother. Take care. Peace.
Take it easy.
Night,
All right, Joe, what do you got to say tonight? Anything in particular on the way out?
Fuckery. That's the word of the night. Fuckery. Everything that has happened in this case, in my opinion, irrefutably points to fuckery. And when I say fuckery, I mean of the highest order. Like I'm talking about above MPD, above the university, although I believe the university had a lot to do with things. Was that enough F-bombs for you?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that very much. You've totally redeemed yourself.
Fuckery.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Dago, what do you got to say on the way out tonight?
Forget about it. It was
Forget about it.
It was a great show. I very much appreciate and respect that you let it slide by a little bit longer tonight. That was great. I love it. And it was really a great conversation. I appreciate you guys having me here once again, as always. And I can't wait for the next time. And again, real quick, I want to thank the community, the Meatballs, the Blue Crew for all being here in support of Devil's Advocates as well. I appreciate that so very much. And I want to thank the community here for welcoming me once again. All of you guys, always a great time here. Thank you.
I don't know. I seriously do not know how you do it. You streamed for like 7 hours today, and then you came on our show and did another 3 hours with us. So thank you a million times, Dago, for you and your community, your great community. I think we're a symbiotic family. We're becoming more and more. We're becoming a family. I think your community has embraced us, and we've embraced you. So it's all love. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, and I appreciate you as always. You're always welcome here. One. What do you got?
Just wanted to wish everyone Happy New Year. Great show tonight. Happy New Year to you, Dago, JJ, Robin, Lee.
You too,
I will not be here tomorrow night. I will be out there helping, protecting, making sure everyone else has a Happy New Year. We have a good outlook for 2026. This partnership, kind of collaboration, whatever you want to call it, has been really good. I love the friendship that has evolved with the True Crime Cafe over there. Dago is amazing. He's welcomed us, as he said, his mods and his group over there. He wouldn't be here if they didn't feel as welcomed as well. So it's reciprocated, and I hope you. I probably will be able to hop in, earlier on. I don't know if you plan on streaming tomorrow or not. If you're still doing stuff, but
I appreciate that. I'm glad to be a devil ball.
Yeah, and and
meet devil and
devil's balls,
and of course the caring law enforcement side of me, please, and this time of year, make sure that you are safe. And for those of you who are going out partying and whatnot, please don't drink and drive. Please. I can't tell you, Dago is former EMS and firefighter, whatever. He could tell you probably even more than me. You don't need to be fully intoxicated to lose control, and it's not worth it. So please be safe.
That's right. Yeah, please, guys, please.
Yep, absolutely.
Very easy.
And on that note, your host is fairly intoxicated, and I will not get behind the wheel of a car. Thank you so much, Robin, the queen behind the scenes. You get for those who said, Robin, do you ever fucking talk? This is your chance. What do you got to say?
Well, just it really has been an amazing year, and I know we'll be back tomorrow night. And thank you to each and every one of you who comes out, at least a few times a week, and some of you come out every single night, and we appreciate you so much. Dago, it's always wonderful having you here, having your mods here, all the meatballs in the sauce. It was great having Birdie hop on in here.
Yes.
They did their little hopping. No, anyway. It was a great panel tonight. Great discussion. BS, we appreciate you for coming up and hanging out with us. And so you guys all just rock, and, we can't stop pushing. We have to keep pushing. We have to keep our eyes on the prize. That's why we're here doing this. I always say it is so important what we're doing. And thank you to all of you for coming along on this journey with us.
Oh, look at that. Somebody's like, I want Robin to sing us. Because you got a great voice, Robin. So you're gonna have to sing songs on the way out eventually.
But I can do that. Don't get me started.
For now, I will just go ahead and say thank you so much. This is a record night for us. I've never gone 3 hours on a live. It didn't feel that way, maybe because I drink too much. But anyways, whatever the case may be, it flew by. It was great having Dago and Birdie together on the same stage. Yes. JJ, Joe from State of the Deep. It's always a pleasure. This guy, by the way, Joe has come so far. When we first started out, Joe was a little nervous, a little tentative on camera. He's a fucking natural now. That guy is forget about it. He's really good on camera. Jeff,
Forget about it.
I love your presence. You're great. You're great. You should get your channel going. You've got a great presence. Robin, as always, thank you so much. One, thank you so much for my advocates team. We got great things going, and we're gonna have a great year ahead of us. So thank you everybody for joining. Let's get into the next year pretty soon, but we got a couple more shows to do before the year ends. Thank you so much for coming. I'll talk to you guys later.
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Bye, guys.